You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve K.
All right, welcome everyone. It's Friday morning. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Cain Show, on the radio since 1977. We are here live in Morning Drive, weekday mornings from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and midnight till 6 a.m., 7 nights a week. And Tuesday next week, today's Friday, Tuesday next week, our attorney Barry Siegel's workshops, the Medicaid Planning Workshop, the Revocable Living Trust Workshop. And we have attorney Barry Siegel bright and early. Hey, Barry, good morning. So these workshops are coming up on Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the morning is the Medicaid Planning Workshop. Can you tell people why that's so important to attend?
Well, one of the biggest fears that people have in their life is aging.
Good morning, everyone. Starting off a little different.
Potentially running out of money. And one of the biggest risks to having that happen is the extremely high costs of long-term care. Care either in your home or in a facility like an assisted living facility or a nursing home. It can cost a fortune. And if you don't have anything set up to protect yourself, then the only option left would be to spend your own money or potentially become a financial burden on your family.
That's right.
So important to plan ahead. And as I say all the time, if you can get long-term care insurance, you can afford it, you can still qualify for it, then certainly I would suggest looking into it. Don't have it, you don't have enough of it, you can't get it, then you certainly want to look at other options.
Oh, that's something interesting you just said, Barry. I just heard you say something I've not heard you say before. You said if you have long-term care insurance but don't have enough of it. So people that have a long-term care policy but maybe it doesn't cover everything they may need, you can still help them. Oh, I did not know that.
Some policies only pay a very small amount per day, or they can run out. So you want to make sure you have a backup plan, even if you have some long-term care. Many of our clients who come in do have long-term care insurance, and they're coming in because it's limited or it's about to run out, and they want to make sure it's covered for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
For a reason, they wanted to protect themselves and their loved ones, and now we got to have another, make sure that they don't spend down their assets. The thing, Brian, is that, as you know, because you've sat through the workshop before, so many people have misinformation and misguided on their ability to qualify for this, and they make the decision on their own without any professional advice or guidance that they just can't qualify. They think Medicaid, the first thing they think is, well, gee, I have too much money, I have too much income, I can't qualify, and they just decide, oh, that's not for me. And you'll be shocked. I mean, I really suggest that if that's the first thought you had, you should really be coming to this.
Now, the Medicaid Planning Seminar is Tuesday at 10 a.m. The Revocable Living Trust Seminar is at 2. And if you already have a Revocable Living Trust and it's 3 years or older, you need to have it reviewed. Barry will do that for you. But if you already have a trust, I think you should still attend this Revocable Living Trust Seminar because, Barry, a lot of people don't have their trust funded or properly set up in other ways, and they'll get a lot of good information too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have a trust, I applaud you for doing your planning and caring about your future and the future of the people that you love. But what this workshop is going to cover, it's not going to just tell you that you need a trust. It's going to talk to you about the differences between a trust and a very well-drafted trust.
Mm-hmm.
That you or the person who put it together may not have contemplated. Some people get their trust done through a do-it-yourself system, like an online or a piece of software, or they may go to an attorney that either does 10 different areas of law, and they may not know a lot of the nuances that make a huge difference in your planning. And also, they may even be a very good estate
No,
attorney,
he doesn't.
but they may
He
not
does
know
not do
what
that.
elder law language
Have to come
put
in
there
person.
that can be the difference between protecting everything and losing everything. Learn about that and many other things. Both.
That's right.
Just for you, Eric, that if you do plan on coming, please call our office
Hey, Jeff.
and make sure.
That's right. Now, both workshops are Tuesday. Medicaid Planning at 10, Revocable Living Trust at 2 at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boca, which is immediately west of I-95 on the north side of Glades Road. They're both free, but call Barry's office to let them know you're coming. The number 1-855-FLA-ESTATE, 855-352-3782. All right, Barry, we'll talk next week.
All right. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Take care. Attorney Barry Siegel. Come to those workshops, all right? Oh, man, so much going on, so much to talk about. You know, that impeachment trial yesterday, my goodness, could it have been more boring? Honestly, and I thought it was just me because I deal with this constantly, day and night, day after day. And I am pleased to see that I'm not alone, that it seems that everyone other than Schiff and Pizza the Hut, Jerry Nadler, that's from Spaceballs, by the way, if you don't know, Pizza the Hut, which I think is most appropriate, not Jabba. A lot of people call him Jabba the Hutt. I think Pizza the Hut's more appropriate. But other than Nadler and Schiff, I think everyone is bored beyond imagination. And I was so happy because I thought maybe I'm just kind of hearing things or just can't stand these guys. And I heard a lot of people say that they're just repeating themselves over and over and over again. And that's it. And you know what? They're coming back today. You know, when you have 24 hours, it doesn't mean you have to use all 24 hours. And when you turn it on and you listen to Schiff and Nadler, it's all platitudes, isn't it? Vague platitudes. When someone has committed a crime, you don't have to be vague and have all these colorful platitudes and talk about how much you love the law and the writers of the law, et cetera, et cetera. You just say what he did. He walked into the bank, he said, give me the money, and he walked out. He robbed the bank. Today, they're going to go on for 8 hours about how President Trump obstructed the Congress. If anyone's obstructing Congress, I would say it's Schiff and Nadler right now. Oh, man, I've just never seen something. So who would have thought that the impeachment trial of President Donald John Trump would be boring? I bet you President Trump's upset about that because he doesn't like boring television about him. He likes exciting TV. And I saw that networks and others cut out of it. Yeah, they just keep repeating the same thing over and over. And, you got to ask yourself, why is that? Is it that they're just politicians who want every second of free television publicity they can get? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. But I think what it's mostly about is they have a circle of friends around them that tell them that what they're doing is great. They have there's this small circle of people that hate Trump. I can't imagine who these people are. If there's anyone in this listening audience who dislikes President Trump, disapproves of Trump, doesn't support Trump, call me. I just don't understand how anyone could not approve of this great president we have. But Nadler and Schiff, their circle of people hate Trump. So when they get off the air or get off the podium and they go in the back room and everything, all the people in their circle tell them how great they are and how wonderful it was and how they made their case. So, they have a lot of yes men and women around them. So they're not really getting proper perspective. But you don't want to be boring people to death. And you see some of these, they can't even keep the senators awake. And there's been a lot of talk that the senators have been playing with toys and things like this during the whole thing. It's pretty pathetic. It's pretty pathetic. And it's painful for me because it's hard for me to go through the news and talk about things that are so unexciting. We'll talk about it. There's other things to talk about. Steve here today. Ed from Tavolino's will be joining us today. And after the first break, I want to get into this confrontation between this dad and Elizabeth Warren, which is spectacular. And by the way, watch us live stream We broadcast the radio show live on YouTube Live, Brian Craig on YouTube. I also upload my podcast there, and I'm also always streaming and uploading things to my YouTube channel, Brian Craig on YouTube. Oh man, I tell you. But yeah, now here's the question though that I wonder, because the Democrats, Nadler and Schiff, they cannot handle not having a television camera on them. They love it. And Nadler, you would think Nadler, with the way that he looks, would hate TV cameras, but he loves them too. They're using all their 24 hours. I wonder what the Trump defense team will do. You know, if I were the Trump defense team, I would keep it short and sweet, wouldn't you? And, you know, President Trump knows a lot about everything, right? I mean, he's a smart guy. And one thing President Trump knows a lot about is television and how to make television interesting. And I wonder if Trump, it was a 20% ratings drop yesterday. I wonder if President Trump takes that personally. I don't know. But I would imagine, you know, Trump's in consultation with his legal team, I'm sure, all the time. I would imagine President Trump would be advising them to keep it short, sweet. He doesn't want to have low ratings on his team, and you don't want to sit there and bore people to death. So do you think when Trump's team comes up, how much time do you think they'll take? I think they should summarize everything in less than a day. They have 3 days, 8 hours a day to do it, 24. I think they should do it in less than the day. Because there's very little that they can say in an opening remark that we've not heard before. I think we've pretty much heard everything already. It's time to get into the meat of it, and boom, and let's have the vote. In fact, you know, one of the senators said yesterday, I'm not sure who this was, but one of the senators said yesterday that they haven't heard one crime that President Trump has committed. So with the Democrat team boring everyone beyond imagination with vague platitudes about President Trump and our founders and our Constitution and, you know, all this stuff, all this colorful language they're using, do you think that the American people, if the Senate, if Mitch McConnell came in and said, let's have a dismissal vote, do you think that the public would accept it very easily without even hearing from Trump's team at this point? I think they would. You know, they've bored people so much with this, and there's been no specifics that you can point to. And I got to tell you, I don't have a single soundbite from yesterday. Oh, I could pull up things and try to make a thing out of it, but I didn't see one thing yesterday from anyone on the Democrat team that was interesting enough, exciting enough, or worthy of playing in a soundbite. Sometimes things are not sound-biteable, sound-clippable. And I was listening to the news early this morning, and even looking on social media and on some websites, and they have a clip here or there, and I'm like, really? It's kind of boring. I don't understand. I don't understand. How can they try to make something out of this when there's really nothing there at all, right? But, yeah, it's terminally boring, and I think it's time for Mitch McConnell to have the dismissal vote. Let's do it. We've heard, boom, that's it. Let's do it. I think we'd win it pretty hard. I think we would overwhelmingly win a dismissal when the Democrats are done today, if there are enough senators awake to vote because they're falling asleep. And this whole thing that Schiff and Nadler are like threatening the senators and the jury is bizarre as well. These guys are out of their freaking minds. So we'll take our break. First break of the day. When we get back, we'll jump into some issues, some topics. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Cain Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CAIN, 1-888-465-2631. Don't go anywhere, all right? We're going to be back after this.
Is being harassed by the left with the impeachment trial. Stand up and support President Trump. Join Steve Cain and me, Brian Craig, as we stand up for President Trump at Wings Plus on State of the Union night, and we are going to watch the State of the Union together. Wings Plus is located about 1 mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. Join us and support our president. State of the Union night at Wings Plus. Join Steve Cain and Brian Craig. We'll see you there. Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how? By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what do you
I just pulled my pants up a little bit.
I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080.
Yeah, they were repeating the clips from the day before because yesterday was so uninteresting.
8080.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including
I have lost weight, yeah.
amputation.
Not by
At the
dieting.
sole authority at little or no cost. You can receive your very
I've lost
own
a ton of weight.
therapeutic
I don't know
shoes
why.
and custom inserts.
If you
Medicare
follow me on
recipients are
Instagram, I noticed it this weekend. I
entitled
took
to one pair of quality diabetic
some
shoes
selfies with
and 3 custom inserts.
Mickey Mouse
Call
and
the sole
Disney World and
authority
things,
today,
and I couldn't believe I've lost a lot of weight.
954-597-7060.
I haven't weighed myself in years. I don't weigh myself. Yeah, I look at my face and neck. It's no dieting. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Cain Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. So did you see this dad confront Elizabeth Warren? You know, the youth vote has been lost. And I knew the youth vote was lost back in 2016. I was over at the Apple store one day. This was during the 2016 campaign. And I saw a group of young people that were like high school, first year of college at the Apple store, hanging out at the mall at the Apple store, looking around with their friends. And a couple of them were wearing Make America Great Again hats. This was during the 2016 campaign. Apple store at the Boca Raton Mall, which is a liberal town. And I assume they were college students because there's a college right across the street, Florida Atlantic University, which is my alma mater. It's where I went to college. Did my graduate work at Trump U, but, you know, Florida Atlantic University. And I knew right then that it was just, that's it, man. That's it. They've lost the youth vote. When there are college students, young college students, like freshman students, wearing Make America Great Again hats around, they've lost the youth vote, the left, which is amazing. And they're on this new, they've been talking about this for about a year, 2 years, a lot. Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, the commie bartender, AOC, and some of the others, about forgiving student loan debt. You know, and what they're trying to do, you know, Democrats always try to buy people's votes. There's no doubt about it, but this one is just bizarre. They're going to promise to do something that they would never be able to do, which would be to forgive all the student loan debt that people have, which is total insanity. Well, a father went up to Elizabeth Warren yesterday and had a confrontation with her, and this is the lead story, I think, of the day when you're talking about politics. He paid his daughter's way through school, no loans, and he confronted Elizabeth Warren. Here it is.
I just want to ask one question. My daughter's getting out of school. I've saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loan. Am I going to get my money back? So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not even like that.
Of course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did. But I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter works, she was 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate
That's
it.
all right.
Okay, and you know, I know there's a lot of background noise there, and when they show it on TV, they can put subtitles if they choose to show it. I cleaned up the audio the best I could to still be able to hear it. I'll tell you what he said in case you couldn't understand it. I think the audio is clear enough. I could understand it in my ear. Could you guys understand the audio? He goes up to Elizabeth Warren. He says, I paid for my daughter's college out of my own pocket. Am I going to get my money back? And she says, of course not. And he says, wait a minute. He says, I worked 2 jobs. My buddy makes more money than me. He was going on vacations and buying cars. Kid took loans. He gets a free ride, his kids, but I got to pay. That's not right. And she laughed at him, and then she blew him off to the side. And, this forgiving student loan, what about, why don't we just forgive mortgages? Why don't we just forgive car loans? Why is it only college students? And I mentioned from time to time, I went to college as an adult. I couldn't go to college when I got out of high school because I had to work, and I worked full time, which is fine. I'm not complaining. There's some great years there. Had a good time, learned a lot. Wandered the earth a little bit, did some things. But I didn't go to college until after I was married. And in fact, the day that I adopted my daughter, I was in class that day. I had a class because I used to take classes on Saturdays because I was working. I was on the radio, and I had a Saturday morning class, and I left my class on Saturday and went to the hospital and met my daughter for the first time, newborn baby, the day after she was born, and I paid for my college education with my money, and there were times that I didn't take classes over a semester. Or I only took 1 class, because the books are so expensive, and with the textbook scam and everything. And one of the greatest things about a college education, there's a lot of great things about a college education, but one of the things is that people work hard and accomplish it. It's not something that everyone does. But these people that they're talking about forgiving their student loans, what have they done? I worked every day. When I was in college, and that's great. That's great. And sometimes it was tough. I made good grades, but it was tough. Exam time was really tough. Especially because I was on the air like I am now, and I'd have an exam. I'd be on the air. I'd have to get up and do the show, and then I'd have exams all week. And it was tough, but that's great. That builds character and it teaches responsibility and dedication and all of these things. These kids they're talking about, they take student loans, they live in student housing or even get apartments, and they don't do anything. They don't work, they just hang out, they loaf, they take the minimum amount of credit hours that they can take and maintain full-time status and qualify for financial aid, and now they don't want to pay it back. What? Yeah, and there are a lot of hardworking people that work. I know guys that work hard and work overtime and work their off to keep their kids in college. And it's tough. Parents sacrifice. Sometimes parents take out loans themselves to pay for their kids' college. But a lot of people do right. My daughter has that Florida prepaid plan, which is very, very good. Very, very good thing to have. Everybody should do that. But, this whole idea, they used to just talk about, food stamps, other welfare programs, and things like this. Now they're talking about just forgiving loans that people have made. The age of entitlement is gotten out of control. And that dad right there, he's the Joe the Plumber of the 2020 race, isn't he? When I saw that clip, it reminded me of Joe the Plumber when he exposed Obama. Didn't stop him. Obama, kept on trucking. But that was a similar moment with Elizabeth Warren. And I hope the mainstream media play the living daylights out of that. All right, good morning. You're on the radio.
Just before we even start, I just want to let you know, again, my kid's college is already paid for also. Any parent who really wants to save for their kid's college, you got to do it when they're first born. Like you said, you open up one of those prepaid plans, you get a 529K, and you got 18 years to get that money together. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Oh yeah, it's a great thing.
I'm not making excuses for anybody, but here's where you're twisting the story a bit here. The loan forgiveness are for kids who've taken the loans out in their own names. Mm-hmm. Parents who've taken out loans for their kids, they're not going to be forgiven.
Well, now slow down. Why should they're not kids. They're adults. They're in college. They're 18 years of age and some of them many years older. So why should an adult who takes out a loan for their college education, why should that loan be forgiven?
like I said, it's not for the parents who take up.
No, I'm talking about these are not kids. They're adults. They're not children. College students are adults. They're not young adults. They're adults. They're 18 years of age and older, unless they're gifted and they get through school and graduate early and then they have scholarships. Why should someone have their college loan forgiven?
Last week about when we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the Andrew Yang income dividend.
No. We're talking about, tell me why a college loan should be forgiven.
Like I said, we spoke about this. The only candidate with a solution to this is Andrew Yang.
I got a solution. How about work your way through college like I did? Right? How about that? No, tell me why. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, AOC, student loan forgiveness. I've got a cousin who's a medical doctor. She has 6 figures in student loan debt because she went to private medical school. And she's a doctor and she's paying it back. Why should a student loan be forgiven?
This is why Elizabeth Warren doesn't have a chance in to win. Because none of them have a chance to win. The only person who's going to win or who has a chance or who's even talking about solutions is Andrew Yang.
Okay, well, what's his solution? What is Andrew Yang? What is Andrew Yang's solution?
Freedom dividend, my friend.
Oh, the $1,000 a month? The $1,000 a month?
The average family household has 2 adults in it and 2 kids over 18. Okay? Or 18 and above. The average household. You got $4,000 between the 4 of them a month. That can go a long way.
See, this is what you don't understand. Okay. So, like, I have a 3-person family. Me, my wife, and daughter. So Andrew Yang gives us $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month. If every family... Oh, slow down. Andrew Yang's going to give us $1,000 a month. What does that do? Excuse me. What does that do to the economy, giving everybody a government dividend of $1,000 a month?
College, more kids enrolled in school. Schools are getting their money. Teachers can get...
What determines the value of a dollar? Excuse me. What determines the value of a dollar? Do you know?
Okay, listen. I want to get back to one other point.
No. I want to talk about this. And you don't know. That's okay. I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to ask you 3 times. You don't know. Many things factor into the value of a dollar. One of them is the amount of cash out there. So if you flood the country with $1,000 per person for every person in the country, there's over 300 million Americans, and times 1,000, and you're doing that every month, you're increasing the money supply. You're devaluing the currency because there's an overabundance of it out there that's not earned. So you actually make the money worth less, and it won't go as far. You cause inflation. That's what causes inflation.
It's not every person, sir. It's not every person. It's only adults, citizens over 18. That's not every person.
Well, that's a couple 100 million people. That's a couple 100 million people. So that's Yang's solution. Devalue the currency. That sounds great. Cause inflation.
Every person. It's every adult over 18. Every citizen. That's it.
Every citizen. Well, how's that fair? What about does that exclude dreamers? So if dreamers are over 18, do they get Andrew Yang money too?
They're not citizens.
Oh, okay. So you want to discriminate against the dreamers. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Discriminate against anybody. Now, back to Trump's crimes. Let me ask you.
Oh, yes.
I think it's a crime to threaten a federal employee.
Depends on the type of threat. Who was threatened? What was the threat? You can make all kinds of threats. I could say, I'm going to hang up on you if you don't answer my question. That's a threat, but that's not a threat of violence. So,
Trump told a career ambassador to Ukraine that things were going to happen to her. Then...
Okay, what did he say was... Oh, you're talking about this This traitor, she was born in Russia, became an ambassador. She's bad-mouthing Trump, and he was threatening to fire her. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he could threaten to fire people that work for him. How does an ambassador become, excuse me, how does an ambassador become an ambassador? We have ambassadors all over the place, right? How does someone become an ambassador?
Constitution is an apprentice show.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Good talking point. How does an ambassador become an ambassador?
Guys, and you got
Do you know? No wonder you don't like Trump. You don't understand how anything works. We have ambassadors to every country in the world, pretty much. We don't have them to Iran or North Korea or something. But when someone is an ambassador, how do they get that job? Who gives them that job?
listen, sir.
Do you know? Excuse me. Do you know how someone becomes an ambassador? Yes or no? He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Things Democrats did.
No, excuse me. Do you know how an ambassador becomes an ambassador? Did you go to school? You said your kid went to college. And I'll tell you, you don't. It's amazing how little. No wonder you're a Democrat. An ambassador, an ambassador is hired by the President of the United States. They are appointed by the President of the United States, and they work at the pleasure of the President. Who appointed this Russian-born lady to be ambassador to Ukraine?
I want to answer my question.
Well, you're not answering mine. I'm the host of the show. I dictate the direction of the conversation. I'm talking about a topic you brought up. You don't know how an ambassador becomes an ambassador, and you don't know how this woman got. Obama appointed her, right? She was undermining President Trump, so he fired her. That's his discretion. That's what he's most famous for. You're fired.
Except this idiot.
What?
Everybody found this lady's job to be okay except this idiot?
Not everybody. No, who's everybody? Obama, yeah. Obama hired her, but Trump can let her go. There was nothing wrong. Nothing was done wrong there.
She stood in the way of his corrupt plot, so he smeared her and then threatened her.
Mm-hmm. No, not really. None of that's true. All right, appreciate the call. We got to take a break. If you're on hold, stand by. See, that's how you become a Democrat. You gotta have no understanding of anything. If you don't know anything, I can understand that guy. I can understand where he's coming from. He is uninformed, and you know what? He doesn't want to be informed. All right, listen, we'll take a break. 38 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Cain Show. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking to sell your house or buy your dream home? Then call LaBella Real Estate. LaBella Real Estate love President Trump, and like Donald Trump, LaBella Real Estate want to get you the highest dollar amount when selling your home. And when looking for a new home, LaBella Real Estate will find you the best deal. LaBella Real Estate have over 20 years of experience in real estate and mortgages, and they are very knowledgeable about the South Florida real estate market. If it's a condo, single-family home, a luxury home, LaBella Real Estate can help. Buying or selling, call LaBella Real Estate at 561-445-7023. 561-445-7023. And online, LaBellaRealEstateLLC.com.
Are you experiencing a loss of your sexual desire as well as your ability to have sex, period? This is Dr. Mitchell Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. I am pleased to tell you about the latest breakthrough
that's a vanilla latte
for women. It's called
I went there. I have a whole bunch of points at Starbucks.
Increase sexual desire,
so I'm using up my points the last couple days because they expire.
All can be yours.
Classic liberal doesn't know anything.
Safe and painless procedure done in our office in a matter of minutes. As an added benefit, the procedure is also effective in controlling urinary incontinence. If you are interested in better and more pleasurable sex, call my office today at 953-5490. That's area code 561.
Well, it takes them time to clean house. They hold people over sometimes. That's not unusual.
And ask about the O-Shot.
This is your special invitation to attend Attorney Barry Siegel's free Living Trust seminar. Be sure you and your family are properly protected, even if you already have a trust. Learn how to avoid losing an inheritance to predators, like divorcing spouses, lawsuits, creditors, government agencies, and the IRS. This free Living Trust seminar is Tuesday, January 28th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boca. To attend this free event, call 1-855-FLA-ESTATE, 855-352-3782.
Listen to the Steve Cain Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Cain Show. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hi, good morning, Brian. This is John.
Hey, John in Wellington. What's up?
I think a couple of points here. I think anyone with any living brain cells realizes that if you flood the country with cash, it devalues the dollar. If you raise the minimum wage to a ridiculous rate, the price of the product is just going to go up.
Yes.
And as far as ambassadors are concerned, you're right. It's not a lifetime post necessarily. Ambassadors do serve at the pleasure of the president. If the United States, whoever they are, don't like the way you're doing your job, you're out the door.
That's right. And you know, before you get to your lighter note, you know, this lady ambassador to Ukraine, like Vindman, the lieutenant colonel, both of them were born in the Soviet Union. You know, so they say that Trump's colluding with Russia. What are all these people from Russia doing working at these important levels of our government and colluding with the Democrats? It seems like they're the ones working with Russians. But what's your lighter note?
Oh, on the lighter note, I called yesterday and you requested that I call in today and give a quick review.
Oh, Star Trek Picard. Yes.
Yeah. Well, really quick here. I thought it was well written, well acted, and I thought it was an appropriate next chapter in the life of the character.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
It was good.
Looking forward to the next episode.
I got a little teary-eyed when the Enterprise D came on the screen in the beginning, which is a throwback to the first scene in Encounter at Farpoint, the pilot of Next Gen. I know. Yeah, but if we talk about Star Trek Picard anymore, Steve will kill me. He'll do to me what Trump did to the ambassador.
That do like Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Mind discussing it or hearing about it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Limbaugh talks about football from time to time.
But you know, I'll tell you, yesterday Patrick Stewart was on The View, and he asked Whoopi Goldberg if she would come on the show and reprise her role as Guinan. She said yes, so I guess that'll be season 2. So we're going to have to put up with Whoopi Goldberg from The View on Star Trek Picard. But I'll suck it up. That's okay. I like Whoopi Goldberg when she's not talking politics. No, I got to tell you, Star Trek Picard was really, really well done, and I was very prepared for it not to be. And I've always been upset at the way that they ended Captain Kirk. They killed him off in a lame way and buried him like an Indian in an old John Wayne Western out in the desert with some rocks over him. And I'm hoping that it looks like things are going to turn out better for Jean-Luc Picard. But anyway.
That the first couple of episodes, actually the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation was not that good.
Oh.
It wasn't. And most new shows aren't good until several episodes in. Star Trek hit the ground running, and it did a good
Oh, yeah.
CBS All Access only for this one.
Yes, so did I.
Happy with it.
So did I. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, here's Richie the bus driver. He'll get us back on track from Star Trek. Hey, Richie.
Let's forget Star Wars for a minute.
Star Trek we were talking about.
That's Star Wars, same. Listen, this guy that just called up, he called up and he agreed with me the other day. I'm so ashamed that he agreed with something that I said, because this guy is just, what he is doing, he's taking Adam Schiff and the other jerk from New York, and all he's doing is their talking points. This guy has no clue. This ambassador, okay, was completely undercutting Trump. She was, I mean, it was really ridiculous, and she was trying to stop him from trying to find out what the collusion was all about, what all this, not collusion, what all this garbage over there was. I got to tell you something. He also mentioned about paying student loans. I can ask you a question, and this has really bothered me for a long time. It has something to do with the same thing, basically. Habitat for Humanity. What do you think about that? Someone like me or you that works your whole life, you bought yourself a house, you have a mortgage, you're paying your mortgage, okay? And here, some woman or whatever comes along, has 3 kids out of wedlock. She's living in a bad neighborhood, and they come along and they give her a free house.
Yeah.
Just build her a house.
Yeah.
How about that? That's
No, I don't like it. I don't like it. It is disgusting. And you know, if you go to those neighborhoods, they look great at first. Go back in 5 years, 10 years, and
this one guy wants the government to give free checks out to Andrew Wang. I want the government taking care of me. If you have kids and you can't afford college, you don't send them to college. And if they decide to go to college, they pay for their own damn.
Yeah, that's right.
Get the GI Bill.
Yeah, that's right.
It's free handout.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, this idea. Well, you know, we have a generation, the millennials, who don't work. They don't want to work, and they sit at home on computers day and night, and they don't work.
Put you up before this guy who can't say the word ask.
I know. I didn't want to get sidetracked on that with him again. I let that slide today. The axe. I want to axe you.
He ought to learn how to speak damn English until he sends his kids to.
Yeah.
Or stop watching raps, but where they don't speak properly.
Mm-hmm.
They'll call me a racist for saying it, but it's the truth.
Well, did you see the video, Richie, of Elizabeth Warren getting confronted about that guy that worked 2 jobs to put his kid through college, and he says, "Am I getting my money back?" And Elizabeth Warren said, "Of course not."
Yeah, and she laughs because she's an idiot. Because all they do is promise all these bloodsuckers out there, including the guy that just called you up a couple of calls ago, bloodsuckers. I'll give you everything for free. Just vote for me so I can destroy the country.
Well.
Okay? The government wasn't my mother, and the government wasn't my father, and that's the bottom line. These people want a free ride through life.
That's right.
From the baby to the time they die.
That's right.
That's
right, Pete. Yeah. And I don't buy that guy's story that he did the right thing and got his kids' education paid for with his own money. I don't buy any of that. He's too much of a freeloader in his attitude when he calls in. He just said that to try to have some credibility.
He should have learned how to speak damn English before he sent his kid to college.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Richie, take care. All right, we're going to take this break on time. We will be on time. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Cain Show. Don't go anywhere.
Our president is being harassed by the left with the impeachment trial. Stand up and support President Trump. Join Steve Cain and me, Brian Craig, as we stand up for President Trump at Wings Plus on State of the Union night, and we are going to watch the State of the Union together. Wings Plus is located about 1 mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. Join us and support our president. State of the Union night at Wings Plus. Join Steve Cain and Brian Craig. We'll see you there.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Sole Authority. At the Sole Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to 1 pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes.
Hey, Molly.
Call the Sole Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoleauthority.com. That's TheSole authority.com. Tell them Steve Cain sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to The Steve Cain Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Cain Show. You know, a lot of people have been telling me, I just got some messages here on Twitter. Some people are talking about this in the chat room. They say, you look like you've lost weight. I have lost weight. I have not been dieting, and I have not been exercising, I promise you. I don't know how much weight I've lost because I have not weighed myself in a few years. I don't weigh myself. But I have noticed in photographs how thin I am. I was at Epcot over the weekend. I took a selfie with Mickey Mouse, and I couldn't believe I saw it in my face. And I have lost a lot of weight. No dieting. You know, I'll tell you what I've done. I'll tell you that might have done this. I drink coffee. I don't put creamer in my coffee. I think that might be a lot of it. I don't know. But, since we've been live streaming, the live stream cameras on whatever device you use, on whatever you use, it's like your television's at home and adds weight. And when I meet people in person, one of the first things they say is, oh, you look so much thinner in person because the video adds weight to you. But no, I have lost quite a bit of weight. I can see it on my face and neck. I've no dieting, no exercise, and I eat whenever I'm hungry. I really don't have a reason why I've lost weight. And but it's nice to lose weight. It is good for you. It is good for you. But it's amazing. When we do the days of I love the live streaming and the internet and everything. But before we had all that, and we were just on the radio, talk radio was all in your mind. People that you heard on the radio looked like whatever you thought they looked like. They sounded like whatever you thought they sounded like. You didn't know what the studios looked like. It was all in the imagination. And with the internet, not just live streaming, but the internet in general, the imagination of talk radio, there's no more imagination. And when we first started live streaming, we've been live streaming now, I don't know, for a long, long time. By the way, you can watch us live stream on YouTube, Brian Craig on YouTube. You can catch me and Steve there, and it's in high definition, great audio. And if you've got a smart TV at home, a lot of people watch the show on their television sets. So you can do that too. Your mobile device, your television set, your computer, your iPad, anywhere. It's nice. But sometimes people send me pictures of their huge televisions, 85-inch screens, and it'll have us on it because they're watching us on YouTube on their TV at home. That's great. That's great. And if you miss the show or a part of it, shame on you. But you can always catch the part you missed on YouTube. And so anyway, when we started live streaming, I said right in the beginning, we are not going to make any changes because you can see us now. We're not going to dress any differently than we would normally dress. We're not going to dress up the studio to make it look any different than it would if we were not live streaming, because that's really not a behind-the-scenes look at radio. And I see all these people that live stream that some guy, they dress up their studios, right? They have fake brick walls behind them, some of them. Some of them go out and spend a fortune on microphones that look cool. The microphone I've had for 22 years. This is my Linus blanket of microphones, So I just don't. So, that's just the way it is. But things are different on other people. They figure if they have some fancy schmancy microphone and have a fake brick wall behind them and all these neon lights and everything, it's about what comes out of your mouth, okay? It's not about what your microphone looks like and what the studio looks like all around you. You know what I'm talking. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. You know, I guess we could dress things up to make it look fancier and everything, but that's I don't really not into doing that. I'm not into doing that. But you guys should all watch us on the live stream. Brian Craig on YouTube. Catch the Steve Cain Show. I live stream all 3 hours of the show. And, you know, here at the beginning of the year, it started on the 1st of January. We made a pretty big change over here, and we haven't really talked about it too much. I've mentioned it a few times, and we do get, you know, I do mention it here and there, and I do get messages from people, and I'll message them back or email them back and tell them. But we had a change with our radio stations. We added some radio stations, and it's a lot easier now. We are live on the air as always. From 6 till 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, with overnight rebroadcast 7 nights a week from midnight till 6 a.m. So Monday through Friday, the Steve Cain Show is on the air from midnight until 9 a.m. in the morning. That's crazy, right? From midnight to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, the Steve Cain Show is on the air. But we're on the air overnights, midnight till 6, 7 nights a week. So on the weekends, you can even catch us midnight till 6 a.m. And for our overnight rebroadcast, and the live morning drive show, we have added a couple of radio stations. And here's what our stations are now. We're on 4 radio stations. We're on 3 FMs and our flagship AM. Our flagship AM station is AM 1470. And again, we're on all these stations weekdays, midnight till 9 a.m., live from 6 to 9, and on the weekends, midnight till 6. But we're on the air during all those hours on AM 1470. And then on the FM dial, you can catch us at 95.3 FM, 103.9 FM, and 96.9 FM. And I have that listed at stevecainshow.com. So, again, we're on the air on 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, 103.9 FM, and 96.9 FM. And these are all stations that are here in Florida. So we cover the whole area pretty solidly. And you can also listen to us during all those hours on the iHeart Radio app and the TuneIn app. On TuneIn and iHeart Radio, search for us by our station call letters WWNN. We live stream at stevecainshow.com. And I know there's a lot of other places that carry the show, but the big change is we've added these FMs during the live show in the morning and the overnight rebroadcast. And I don't know, we don't celebrate things too. Steve and I are not good at self-promotion. We promote a lot of things. I mean, we're in the business of promoting things. All right, that's what we do, but we don't promote ourselves enough. So that's the new lineup change. And I know a lot of people have been asking me, where can I hear you? I can't get you there. Well, this is where you get us. And I have all those stations listed at stevecainshow.com. stevecainshow.com, they're all there. And that's great. That's great. I know. It's a lot. You know, this show is on over 1,000 hours a month. We're on the air a lot, right? And this is not just the longest running radio show in Florida, the Steve Cain Show. This is also the political show of record in the South Florida radio market. It has been for a long time, but it is very much so now. And also the most pro-Donald Trump radio show in America, which I say with pride. You're never going to hear me criticize Donald Trump. Never. Never. Never, 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 never. Nope, it's not called that anymore, Charlene. Nope. So anyway, that's that, and that's what the lineup changes are. Now, in the next hour, we'll get back into some of these issues. You know, yesterday's impeachment trial was so boring. Did any of you notice this? Yesterday's impeachment trial was so boring. I was watching Fox in the afternoon, and they were discussing the impeachment trial, but they were playing clips from the day before. They didn't even have clips from yesterday to discuss. They were playing clips from the day before. That's how boring it was yesterday. And I know it is. Now, why do you think it is boring? I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you why they keep going on. And again, the Democrats, they're going to go today, too. They got a whole nother day, 8 more hours today of boring people to death. Today, the case takes a dramatic turn. They're gonna spend 8 hours with very colorful language telling us vague language, how the president obstructed Congress. Oh my goodness. This is not the O.J. Simpson trial. You know, the O.J. Simpson trial, actually, as exciting as that was, there was a period in the O.J. Simpson trial that went on for, I want to say, 3 weeks. When the O.J. Simpson trial was going on, DNA was new. Everybody knows about DNA now and understands it and what it means to have someone's DNA at a crime scene. But during the O.J. Simpson murder trial, DNA was new to most people. And the prosecution, 3 weeks is what comes to mind. The prosecution spent 3 weeks explaining the science of DNA in the courtroom. So as exciting as the O.J. Simpson trial was, and we all remember it, people blocked that out. There were 2-3 weeks of terminal O.J. Simpson trial coverage when they were explaining the science of DNA. It was strange and bizarre. And even then, networks and radio stations stopped carrying the O.J. Simpson trial during the DNA education time. And then when they got over, they went back to it. And yesterday, the news and the networks were cutting out of the coverage because it was just repetitious. They're saying the same things over and over and over again. They've not listed a specific crime. It's very vague, all of the talk. And they're going to do it again today? They're out of their minds. If they were smart, they'd come in today and end at lunch. But they're not smart. They're Democrats. That's why they're Democrats. They're not smart. They don't understand. They've lost touch with the pulse of the American people, the Democrats. You know, their friends and their sycophant circle may tell them, oh, you're making the case. A lot of it could be they think if they repeat a lie often enough, people will start to believe it. Well, they have to be watching and staying awake. If they're bored and falling asleep, and they're really losing the media because these media people, a lot of them are already ticked off that they're getting preempted for the impeachment trial. They really are on all the cable news networks because they like to be on TV too. So they're getting preempted, even in CNN, they're getting preempted for boredom. And they're losing the media, even the mainstream media, because they're already annoyed at them for keeping them off the air, and then they're boring people to death. I like how Rachel Maddow is reprimanding senators. If you can't stay awake, get another job. All right, whatever, Rachel Maddow. You go in there and try to stay awake, listening to Nadler and Schiff. Let's see Rachel Maddow go in there for 8 hours a day and stay awake listening to that. It's like hypnosis. Okay, it is, oh my goodness, 2 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. We're going to take our break. When we get back, more to talk about. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Cain Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Lori Cain, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Cain listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Cain listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Cain sent you.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including amputation. At the sole authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to 1 pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the Soul Authority today, 954-597-7060. If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lamaski. Dr. Troy Lamaski is my personal chiropractor, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lamaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck pain, Dr. Troy also provides treatment for the hips, the shoulders, the knees. If you've been in a car accident, any type of injury, or slip and fall, the pain won't go away, well, if you want to get back to your old self, you want to call Dr. Troy. His number 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036. Online at drtroylamaski.com. Tell him that Steve Cain sent you.
This is your special invitation to attend Attorney Barry Siegel's free Living Trust seminar. Be sure you and your family are properly protected, even if you already have a trust. Learn how to avoid losing an inheritance to predators, like divorcing spouses, lawsuits, creditors, government agencies, and the IRS. This free Living Trust seminar is Tuesday, January 28th from 2 to 3 p.m.
Let me ask you, Linda, if you were
to attend this free event, call 1-855
save my thoughts for the air.
855-352-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Cain Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-CAIN 1. That's 1-888-GO-CAIN.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. It's 6 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. I am Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Cain Show, on the radio since 1977. That's right, Steve will be here today. We'll have an update on Steve's skin cancer scare. I'm going to let him give the update because he went and saw the doctor yesterday, and I really don't know. So we'll find out when Steve gets here. Ed Pasquale will be here in the next hour as well. And we're talking about this boredom that they call an impeachment trial. It's supposed to be the trial of the century, the most boring trial of the century. Maybe they should... there is another trial, though, that it got really interesting yesterday, and that's Harvey Weinstein. Annabella Sciorra gave testimony about how she was raped by him. And I read the transcript of her. Oh, my goodness. And Harvey Weinstein's attorneys laid into her about how she had lied about things during interviews. And there's... Harvey Weinstein is, it's just bizarre. When these stories first came out about Harvey Weinstein, no one's surprised about it because everyone it kind of accepts the idea of the casting couch in Hollywood. And what I thought what Harvey Weinstein would do when they started talking about rape trials is that he's worth a lot of money. He's made more money than he could ever spend. I thought he would cash out and move to France and move in next door to Roman Polanski, because over in France, they don't mind people that apparently rape. Roman Polanski's been living over there since what year? 1970 what? Still making movies. And this guy, Harvey Weinstein, he's as arrogant as he is fat and ugly. Does he really think he's going to beat this rap? He's going to go to prison. He's going to prison, Harvey Weinstein. And, when you're someone that has that kind of wealth, he could go to, there are many countries he could go and live the rest of his life carrying on like any way he wants to carry on and have no fear of anything. But his arrogance is what brought him back to America to face trial. He's so arrogant he thinks he can beat it. If he didn't think he could beat it, he wouldn't be here in America. And this bit where he's using the walker and having his guys carry him in like that mafia. Remember that mafia boss about 20 years ago who was facing charges, and he started walking around the streets in his pajamas and a bathrobe pretending he was suffering from Alzheimer's to avoid prosecution. And Harvey Weinstein's lawyers, what they did to Annabella Sciorra, they keep talking about her being in Sopranos. She's been in a lot of things. She was in Copland, many movies. She's a great actress. I've always liked her. And she was, when this rape that she was talking about in court yesterday by Harvey Weinstein happened back when she was at Cain, or Cain, however the hell they say it, promoting Copland. So this was when she was at the peak of her career. And Annabella Sciorra, at that time, as crazy as this may sound to people today, was an A-list actress, and he burst in and raped her. And she was very detailed, and I do believe her. And, you know, a lot of guys like Harvey Weinstein, they go into the movie business because they're fat and ugly, and they can get women that way. And I know a lot of people don't have sympathy for these actresses. Harvey Weinstein's lawyers laid into Annabella Sciorra yesterday and said, why didn't you go and tell Stallone or Robert De Niro? His name was mentioned in the courtroom. Why didn't you tell them to come rescue you when you were being attacked? And she says, I don't even know where they were. Were they even, Stallone, she said Stallone has a house over there. He might have been staying at his own house, not the hotel where I was at. And the Harvey Weinstein's impact on Hollywood has really had such a negative impact on the world of entertainment. A couple of days ago, I was mentioning this new show with Rob Lowe. Have any of you had an opportunity to watch this new television show with Rob Lowe? I am a huge fan of Rob Lowe. I've grown up with Rob Lowe. I think I've seen pretty much all of his movies, and pretty much anything he's ever been in. He even had, a couple years back, some Ghost Adventures-like show that he was doing with his sons. And I tweeted about it, and Rob Lowe liked one of my tweets. I was so excited. And this new show that he is on, it's called 911 Lone Star. And I know so many of you out there, you follow news and politics so much, you don't watch entertainment television. But this Harvey Weinstein effect on television and film has really, really changed the face of entertainment. In both film and television. This new show with Rob Lowe's the lead, right? And it's a firefighter show. His son is gay. He puts together he hires a bunch of firefighters for his firehouse, right? He hires a Muslim female firefighter. He hires his gay son. He hires one white straight guy who's married to a black woman, and he hires a transgendered black person as a firefighter as well. And I don't know if it's a man transitioning to a woman or vice versa. I don't know. I haven't caught the name of that character yet, so I don't know. So he's got a Muslim firefighter, a transgendered firefighter, a white guy married to a black woman, a gay firefighter, and him. And this is what they've done to Hollywood. I mean, they got to because of all the men that have been running things like Harvey Weinstein. They've let, I don't know who's running Hollywood now, but it's a little too forced. And this show is so strange to watch. It is just bizarre to watch. You got to check. It's called 911 Lone Star. I would recommend catching it soon because it's probably going to get tossed into the cancellation bin because I've never seen something. I mean, it's right. They're hitting you over the head with it. It's okay. I'm not saying they shouldn't have Muslim firefighters or transgendered firefighters. I mean, that's what's going on in the world today. But to bring it all in the first episode and try to build a show, I mean, how could you have a firehouse that had that kind of collection put together? And as you watch television today, all the white heterosexual guys are fools. Even Rob Lowe in this new series. Rob Lowe's the lead, and they make a fool out of him over some things involving hair loss, which I'm not going to get sidetracked in. But if you watch new shows and television programs, all the white heterosexual men are boobs. They're complete fools. And usually, most every show has a female lead that's the heroine of everything now. And it's all the Harvey Weinstein effect. They put women in charge of Hollywood, you know? And it's just a little too much hitting you over the head with it, and it's not organic. Yeah, it's called 911 Lone Star. And it's a spinoff of that other 911 show, which is not that bad, you know? And what they did in the original 911 show is they do all these, you know, the new thing in Hollywood now are origin stories. Like they did this in the Marvel universe. So over the past 2 seasons of the original 911, they did all these origin stories on how each firefighter ended up in that firehouse. And some of those were pretty good episodes. And this new Rob Lowe 911 Lone Star, they did the origin stories in the first 20 minutes of the first episode for every character. And it's just strange. It's just strange. You know, and I remember there was someone on Twitter a couple years ago that I knew, and they were tweeting they were going to come out of the closet to their parents. And I'm like, you know, that's not even a shocker anymore. What's a shocker to people is when someone comes out as straight is more shocking than people coming out as gay. But Harvey Weinstein is responsible for this feminization of film and television. And it's amazing to me that Tarantino's still making movies. I mean, Tarantino, who came up through the ranks through Harvey Weinstein, still makes movies like he was making back in the 90s, and he's still able to make movies that guys want to see, but he's one of the few filmmakers left out there. All right, listen, we'll take our first break of the second hour. We'll get back into some of the news and issues after that. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Cain Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
If you suffer from
right back,
excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74%.
Oh yeah, Twitter is ripping this show. Let me see if I can find anything on Twitter about it.
Your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lemaski. Dr. Troy Lemaski is my personal chiropractor, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lemaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck pain, Dr. Troy also provides treatment to the hips, the shoulders, the knees. If you've been in a car accident, any type of injury, or slip and fall, the pain won't go away, well, you want to get back to your old self, you want to call Dr. Troy. His number 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036. Online at drtroylemaski.com. Tell him that Steve Cain sent you.
Our president is being harassed by the left with the impeachment trial. Stand up and support President Trump. Join Steve Cain and me, Brian Craig, as we stand up for President Trump at Wings Plus on State of the Union night, and we are going to watch the State of the Union together. Wings Plus is located about 1 mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. Join us and support our president. State of the Union night at Wings Plus. Join Steve Cain and Brian Craig. We'll see you there.
Attention homeowners, this is Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. I'm here to cut your electric bill and save you a lot of money. Perhaps even eliminate your electric bill altogether. We do this by making your entire home energy efficient, by upgrading some or all of the following: roofs, doors, windows, insulating your attic, AC systems and ducts, hot water heaters, and even adding solar. Energy efficient improvements that actually pay for themselves over a short period of time. Our program is designed to make the savings on your electric bill pay for all or part of your low monthly payments. The PACE program is government sponsored and gives you up to 30 years to pay. Requires no credit check, no money down, no income verification, and no payments for up to 18 months. You only need to be current on your mortgage and taxes for the last 3 years to qualify. Energy savings and hurricane solutions made easy. Call 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500 to start saving money now.
Listen to the Steve Cain Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Cain Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Did you see the video? I know some people say it's fake news. I don't know. It looked like it's true to me, but I didn't look as carefully as some. How Prince Charles snubbed the vice president yesterday. He just kind of brushed by the vice president, Prince Charles, wouldn't shake his hand. Who gives a hoot about Prince Charles? But who should be surprised that Prince Charles snubs Pence? He just snubbed his son. You know, Prince Charles is a creep. He's a creep. You know? And he's always been a creep. They're trying to, you know, I'm sorry. So I'm glad he didn't shake Pence's hand. I you know, after what he did to his son. And I'm watching these people that are attacking Prince Harry and Meghan. You know, I was talking about this earlier in the week. We haven't talked too much about it. I believe there's a few things in play here. One, I don't believe Harry is the son of Charles. I think Diana became pregnant with that redheaded guy that was here, limo driver, bodyguard, whatever it was. That's one. And I think he knows that he's not Charles' son, and I think Charles knows, and he's never gotten treated just right because of that. That's one. And also, he's married to a black woman. And in the United Kingdom, unlike the United States, they've never had a civil rights movement. And there's a lot of racism in the UK. I mean, look at how their government looks down at their own people. They have Brexit. They think they're superior. So it's happening, but it's taken years after they had the national vote. They don't really care for black people in the UK. There's a lot of racism over there. And they don't like that they've got, and the royals don't like that they've got a black princess in the royal line. And I think they were itching to take the titles away, and they even took the title away from Harry's son, Archie. Is that his name? Because, you know, they don't want little Archie to have black princes and princesses. Okay? So what they really did, the royal family, Prince Charles, and I'm very surprised this hasn't been discussed. I've discussed it, but I haven't heard it elsewhere about the racial aspect of this. You know, especially yesterday with Prince Charles giving the snub to Pence, you know, which is giving the snub to America. You know, they made sure that they will not have any black, Her Royal Highnesses, HRHs, or whatever they call them. You know, and that's what this is all about. They don't like that. I'm sorry. I have no respect for Charles. He's a lowlife. I have no respect for the Queen. I used to like the Queen. I saw that movie, The Queen. I thought, oh, the poor Queen, a prisoner in her palace. Oh. You know, I fell for that line of propaganda. They're racist. They don't like Harry because he married a black woman, and they don't want to have black princes and princesses in the royal line. And since they took all their titles away, they might have relations that are black, but they're not going to have the titles. They just cut that right out. It's one of the most openly racist things I've ever seen. And I'm very surprised that black activists in this country and elsewhere, and there are black activists in the UK, Black Lives Matter have active chapters in the UK, haven't talked about any of this. And then, on top of all of that, you know, Harry is going around trying to get work. And the people that are, it's a whole racial thing with Harry and Meghan. I'm sorry, that's what the whole thing is about. And they're making fun of Harry because he is trying to get work for his wife. He was talking to Bob Iger, and there was somebody else, and they have him on camera, like, pitching jobs. And then, you know, you're not going to get our tax money. You're not going to get our tax money. Who's going to pay for your security? And then they make fun of him for pitching people to hire his wife for work, for acting work or voiceover work or whatever it is. And I got to tell you, that's a very interesting thing because I'm very surprised. Here you got Harry, who grown literally with a platinum spoon in his mouth, right? Not just entitled, he's got the titles. A guy who never had to worry about anything and certainly never had to worry about money and how things were going to be paid for. It was always taken care of. And someone that's grown up in that kind of era, that kind of circle of things, it's very interesting that he's so business-minded, right? You would not think that someone with his upbringing would have any idea on making money, how to make money, and would think enough, because he has access to people like Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney, to pitch work for his wife or himself. It's amazing that someone who's grown up with literal entitlement is thinking kind of in a capitalistic way. And, he is going to be, Harry and Meghan are going to be so rich. They're going to be so successful because you can see Harry's already trying to make the money. Which is a good thing. But this whole thing is racial. And, I don't buy into all this, race card thing, and people are always talking about racism and all of these things, when there's not any. But this is definitely racism. Now, they have this thing that they're trying to alienate them in America. In America, for some reason, I don't know why, Americans have always had like a love of the royal family, at least the media. I have not heard her say it, but it's been reported that Meghan said that they would not move to America while Trump was president. I don't know about that. The reason they're moving to Canada, and they made a move to Canada, is because when they started making this, there's two reasons why. One is the television production she was involved in. That show Suits was based out of Canada. She lived in Canada. She worked in Canada. There's a lot of TV work in Canada and movie work, so she wants to be there for that, and she's got connections there. But the reason that they were moving to Canada and not America is not because of Trump, as it's being widely reported. This is a lot of the press trying to turn America against Harry and Meghan. The reason that they moved to Canada is when they first made the move, they thought they would be able to keep their titles. And Canada is a Commonwealth nation. So they figure if they move to Canada, at least they're in the Commonwealth still. They'll be able to hold on to their titles. Now that they've yanked the titles away, when they get settled in and everything, you're going to find they're going to have a place in New York and they're going to have a place in Los Angeles because they're going to spend a lot of time in New York and Los Angeles in the world of entertainment. And it's really amazing to me that you got Prince Charles' brother, who's a creep, with all of his hanging out with Weinstein, or not Weinstein, but Epstein. Weinstein, Epstein, they're both creeps, one worse than the other, but hanging out with Epstein, doing all these things, that's okay. But boy, you all those girls on the island, that's okay. But you marry a black woman, oh boy, that's the end of it. You're in trouble now, Prey. You can do a lot, but you can't marry a black woman. And that's just it. And if you go back to Harry's wedding, if you go back and watch it, look at the faces on the members of the royal family when Meghan's mother came in. When Meghan's mother walked in, I don't think people realized that she was really black. She's biracial, and she's passing. She does her hair and makeup in a way to pass. I didn't know she was black when I first heard of her. When I first heard of her was when she was dating Harry. I saw her on some interviews. I was surprised she had an American accent. I just assumed she was a British actress in America making movies doing a fake American accent. But they did when Meghan's mother walked into the royal wedding, you could see the mouths drop on a lot of the people in the royal family, like, oh my gosh, she's black. They were shocked, and they don't like it. They don't like it. Well, they got him out of the family, and they'll have, so I guess they're happy. But, that's that. All right, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Cain Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Someone in the chat said everyone knew she was black. knowing it and seeing it are two different things. And I watched the royal wedding live. It was on the BBC, and I watched it. And it was on the weekend. I watched the whole thing. And having someone walk in as dark as Meghan's mother was, their mouths, they knew she was black. They didn't know she was that black. And when the black minister from Chicago went up and talked, that's when you could really see a change on the faces of the royal family. I mean, it was just like, they were like, they couldn't believe. Some of them were laughing, right? They were laughing. They didn't like it. They did not like it at all. All right, we'll take our break. 1-888, go Cain 1, toll-free call. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. That's the number. We'll break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Cain sent you.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how?
Steve Cain
By
Show.
calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Are you experiencing a loss of your sexual desire as well as your ability to have sex, period? This is Dr. Mitchell Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. I am pleased to tell you about the latest
How am I
breakthrough in
disrespecting
sexual
them, Jeff?
enhancement for women. It's called the O Shot, and it will change your life.
How am I disrespecting them? William's a piece of garbage. Look at how he's treating his brother.
All can be yours with a simple, safe, and painless procedure done in our office in a matter of
Call me
minutes.
on the air, guys,
As
and
an
take
added
issue.
benefit, the procedure is also effective in controlling urinary incontinence. If you are interested in better and more pleasurable sex, call my office today at 953-5490. That's area code 561-953-5490. And ask about the O-Shot.
This is your special invitation to attend Attorney Barry Siegel's free Living Trust seminar. Be sure you and your family are properly protected, even if you already have a trust. Learn how to avoid losing an inheritance to predators, like divorcing spouses, lawsuits, creditors, government agencies, and the IRS. This free Living Trust seminar is Tuesday, January 28th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boca. To attend this free event, call
Not the hot topic, just because Charles snubbed Pence.
3782.
Listen to the Steve Cain Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, you know, the reason I'm talking about the Royals is because Prince Charles snubbed Pence yesterday. That's why I brought up the Royals today. But you know, Charles, he snubbed Pence. Why did he snub Pence, right? Because Prince Charles, who's going to be king when he's about 112, he's a liberal. Prince Charles is a bleeding heart liberal. He's all into this global warming lie, climate change lie. and he snubbed Pence just like those jerks from Hamilton did. And here you've got Pence being snubbed by Prince Charles because he's a conservative and Charles is a liberal. You know, and this hypocritic bleeding heart liberal. You know what he's like? You know what Prince Charles like? He's like Spencer Tracy and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. You know, which I know they did a remake of with the race reversal with Ashton Kutcher. I never saw that one. But you've got this bleeding heart liberal, Prince Charles, won't shake the hand of a conservative, right? But when he has to walk the walk, when Prince Harry says, "Guess who's coming to dinner, Daddy, Prince Charles of Wales?" Black girl, boom, that's it, out. No time. You lose your title. She loses her title. My grandson's, he's got no title. You know, so Prince Charles, typical liberal, right? What are liberals? Bigots, and Prince Charles is definitely that. And you know, here you've got Fredo over there on CNN. Chris Cuomo, Fredo. This guy, I tell you, he is so out of control of his mind. Remember, he was going to throw someone down the stairs, threatening someone, going to throw them down the stairs. At the World Economic Forum, Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, was asked by reporters about Greta Thunberg's call for countries to divest from fossil fuels. And when Mnuchin, he wasn't talking about Greta Thunberg. He was asked about Greta Thunberg, wanting us to divest from fossil fuels. And he responded by saying this, talking to Greta Thunberg, is she the chief economist? Who is she? I'm confused, Mnuchin joked. After she goes and studies economics in college, she can come back and explain that to us. That didn't sit well with Fredo from CNN, Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo tweeted, quote, "Why do these Trumpers," you see, that's another one, this derogatory Trumpers. "Why do these Trumpers think it is okay to go at a kid?" Cuomo tweeted, scolding the Trump administration. Well, Twitter exploded over this. It took about 6 seconds. As soon as Chris Cuomo tweeted, "Why do Trumpers think it's okay to go after a kid?" Twitter exploded with people pointing out what CNN did to the Covington Catholic schoolboys, and they just had a big financial settlement with that Sandman character. Here they took these high school kids, about the same age as Greta Thunberg, and forever labeled them white supremacists, bigots, you know, and all of this stuff. You know, they actually did it. Mnuchin just made a joke, you know, and boom, you know, and Chris Cuomo, he's in all kinds of trouble. I mean, he just can't win. And yeah, like here's one tweet. "Didn't your garbage network just settle a 9-figure lawsuit for defaming a Catholic child at a pro-life march?" And then they tag Chris Cuomo. Here's another one. "Chris, your network literally just settled with a Covington High School kid after you smeared him." And then they tag him. So what else? They respond. Here's another one. "The name Nick Sandman escape your mind, Chris?" Yeah, right. So they just can't win over it because they're, you know, like they're consumed with their anger. But, you know, this thing with Greta Thunberg over there with Trump was amazing because when he was over there speaking in Switzerland the other day, he attacked her while she was sitting in the audience watching him. And, you know, Trump knew she was out there. And the look on her face was just like, oh, my gosh. But, you know, when as upset as Chris Cuomo may get at Mnuchin and Trump for discounting Greta Thunberg, this helps her because when Mnuchin and the president are talking about her, it makes her more important, Greta Thunberg. You know. But I love it, Chris Cuomo. You know, they gave millions of dollars just to Sandman for defaming him, and he was what 16 or 17 when they did it. So that's Chris Cuomo for you. But I'll tell you this, you know, when you look at the coverage yesterday, because yesterday was the first day during the impeachment trial that I turned on MSNBC and CNN. I've been watching it exclusively on Fox because I didn't want to hear what these liberal creeps were saying about it. And I noticed yesterday was the first day on CNN and MSNBC where the on-air staff realized that this impeachment trial was a mistake. And you can see it on their faces. Yeah, Rachel Maddow is over there attacking the senators for falling asleep. Okay, she's getting angry at the senators. She's not angry at Schiff. She's not angry at Nadler. And on CNN, they don't say it, but you can see it in their faces. They have the life has been taken out of them because they, again, with the left in the media, there's always a scheme. If this one thing can get out there, just this one thing, then people will wake up and then they'll turn on Trump and they don't understand. And then these things happen. Mueller is the prime example of it. Now it's happened again. When Stormy Daniels came out, they thought, oh, yeah, these Bible thumpers on the Trump train, Liberty University is all behind them and everything. When these Bible thumpers see a porn star on TV saying that she had sex, that's it. That family values crowd, they'll scheme after scheme. The Mueller report. Mueller report comes out, it fizzles. And then they call Mueller. And CNN says, well, the report is dry to read, but when you hear the author on TV actually read his own words, that's when people will realize, and then that fizzled. Right? He was really out of his mind, unlike Harvey Weinstein, who's pretending to be senile. And now they've got the impeachment trial. And the Democrats have had, today they're going to come back. They've had 3 days, right? They had the first day where they made their case when they were talking about procedures. And then they've had 2 days, 8 hours each of saying the same thing over and over. They're going to do it again for the third day. They've lost even their supporters when it comes to all of this. And they really are at a loss over at CNN on what the future holds. And if you remember, before this started on CNN, they were talking about how Schiff and Nadler, because Schiff is a prosecutor, is going to wipe the floor with Jay Sekulow and Dershowitz and Ken Starr because they have the case, they have the truth on their side. And here we are 3 days into the trial, and you can even tell that the left feel that they've lost it. All this talk about how Nadler is attacking the senators. Well, the reason Nadler is attacking the senators because he knows all hope is lost. And he sees, when these senators are falling asleep up there, and some of them they were talking are playing with toys. One was playing with a quill pen yesterday. They're playing with little toys on their desk to try to stay awake. They're falling asleep in their chairs. When you are speaking to any group, see, Nadler and Schiff, when they're up there talking, they're seeing things from a perspective that we're not, right? Because the camera is on their faces. We're not seeing what they're seeing. So when Nadler and Schiff are up there speaking, and they're looking at their audience, and the audience has people that are asleep, it really throws you off. And anyone who's done any type of public speaking, for example, when you're doing public speaking and the people you are looking for are asleep or uninterested, right? They're not looking at you, they're looking away, they're reading, they're playing with things on the... it's very distracting. And I was telling you, when I went to the Trump rally Thanksgiving week here in South Florida, that the press were doing this to Trump. And this was my first rally that I'd been to since he'd been president. I went to one rally during the campaign, but this was the first rally I went to while Trump was president. And you don't see this on television, but when you're in person, and other people, I talked to other people who were there, they noticed this too. It was very interesting what this low-life press do to President Trump. When President Trump is speaking, the press are right in front of him. They've got that stage, and they're right in front of him. Before Trump comes out, the press are all up there doing their job, right? They're on camera, they're reporting, they're giving analysis, et cetera, et cetera. When Trump comes out, the way that press behave blew my mind. I talked about this the next day. They all pretend to not be paying attention. They lean back in their chairs. Some of them put their feet up on another chair and kind of like pretend they're nodding off. They're not looking at him. They're looking to other people. They're having private conversations up there. And what the press are doing during these Trump rallies, and if you were at the one in Sunrise, I know you saw this. They're trying to throw Trump off when he's up there speaking. Because the press being right in front of him, that's who he's seeing. He's not seeing all of us out there. He's looking at the press. And when they're having private conversations or sleeping in their chairs, they're trying to throw Trump off. And I couldn't believe what the press are doing, and I couldn't believe they did this. What the press are doing is it's a protest, trying to throw him off. I saw one guy, he had his feet up on the chair next to him and with his head back sleeping. I saw one woman who was with the media that had her back to the president in her chair. I saw others having private conversations, and it's all a protest to throw Trump off because they know, because they're broadcasters, that if you have an audience in front of you that are asleep or not paying attention to you, it throws you off when you're doing it, right? So they do this at Trump at the rallies. Well, that's what Nadler and Schiff are looking at during this impeachment trial. They're looking at people that are doing anything but paying attention to them. And not only that, the Democrats aren't paying attention to them either. And Schiff and Nadler threw a bit of a protest the other day because some of the senators have been leaving while they're speaking. Well, I'm sorry if they got to go pee. You're talking for 8 hours, you know? And they don't want them to be able to leave to go to the bathroom. So they're really thrown off by this. But I'll tell you, this story today that the senators were playing with toys while they were speaking. When it's Trump's team's turn, you're not going to see that. Trump's people aren't going to go for 3 days boring people to death. Jay Sekulow, who is also not just a great lawyer, he's a professional broadcaster, right? He knows how to be interesting and captivating. So when Trump's people are up there, they're going to be paying attention. They're not going to be falling asleep and leaving and doing all of these things. That's going to really throw off Nadler and Schiff. All right, listen, let's take our last break of the second hour. Steve's joining us. If you're on hold, stand by. We may take some calls after the break, depending on who's on hold. But we'll take our break and we'll be back. All right, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Cain Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Our president is being harassed by the left with the impeachment trial. Stand up and support President Trump. Join Steve Cain and me, Brian Craig, as we stand up for President Trump at Wings Plus on State of the Union night, and we are going to watch the State of the Union together. This is located about 1 mile west of University
He may be calling in today. He texted me.
Coral Springs. Join us
I am.
and support our
it's
president.
next.
State of the Union night at Wings Plus. Join Steve Cain and Brian Craig.
But he may call in today, just so you know.
Attention homeowners, this is Scott from Cut by Kilowatts. I'm here to cut your electric bill.
I'm going to go to the
and save
phones,
you a
though,
lot
after
of
the
money. Perhaps
break.
even eliminate your electric bill altogether. We do this by making your entire home energy efficient.
I told him
I
told him it had to be 7:45 or 8, and he didn't call in now.
And ducts, hot water heaters.
So 8 o'clock is the latest.
Energy efficient improvements that actually pay for themselves over a short period of time.
But Barry called in actually in the 6 o'clock hour because he was going out of town. So we don't have Barry today. So if we have to, he can call in at 8:15.
Requires no credit check.
I'm going to try not. Yeah.
No income verification. No.
Well, you'll be here too.
18 months. You only need to be current on your mortgage and taxes for the last 3 years to qualify. Energy savings and hurricane solutions made easy. Call 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500 to start saving money now.
I'm going to take them and get back. I had to answer them first.
I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service.
Somebody was in the studio yesterday. Somebody was in here yesterday.
One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly
In here.
Tire and called to share with us his experience.
In here.
Buying
They were in
used
here.
Tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Because they left, there was a light on. I turned everything off. Somebody was in here. Everything was locked when I came in. And everything, so. Somebody came in though.
I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio.
The on-air light was on.
Save you and your family lots of money.
Steve Cain Show.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio.
The on-air light was on in the hallway. I never turned that on, and it's a light. They thought that was the light switch for the room, and they turned it on. Whoever was in here. They were in my room. They were in here. Somebody was in here.
9445, and Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire.
It could have been, like fire inspector coming in and stuff like that.
Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we're back. We've got a full board of calls. Something I've said, I don't know. We'll find out. Jeff in Maine, you're on the radio.
Hey, Brian, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right,
Okay, first of all, the boys, the Royal Boys, they did serve their country voluntarily and volunteered for combat. So
Yeah.
I give them much respect. I don't.
Well, apparently their own family doesn't because they also threw Harry out of the Army.
I never heard that.
Yeah, he's out of the Army too, yeah.
What were the circumstances?
The whole thing. But with his titles, they stripped him of the Army. Yeah, but the Queen,
They just did it?
when the Queen stripped Harry of his titles and his family of their titles, also discharged him from the Army.
Yes, I know that, but you can't take away from their service to country.
Who did? I didn't do that. Their mother did. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Harry being married to a black woman factored into this at all?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I think it's secondary.
Oh, please. You didn't watch the royal wedding.
I think it's because of his views politically, and he ought to grow a pair and step up and be a man.
Well, that's a whole nother.
What are you talking about? His father is big into. His father may have rejected his son Harry, but he's been embracing Greta Thunberg, Prince Charles. He's all into that global warming, climate change lie. That's a big thing with Prince Charles.
Prince Charles is a globalist?
Yes. Yeah.
Not big in the news about it, you know what I mean?
Well, you don't follow the UK.
Whatever, I think suffice it to say something we can agree on. I think his treatment of the vice president was disgraceful yesterday. Who the hell does he think he is for crying?
Well, he just disowned his son on Monday,
Well,
so what do you
he's a
expect?
creep,
And racist. The royal family are racist. They don't want any black princes in there. Well, you're hearing it here.
I mean, that doesn't take away from that, but it does really lower my standards for him, having heard that he did that. Do you understand?
Okay, I don't quite understand what you're saying. I don't. Everybody knows that. Well, okay. I don't know really what you're talking about.
His military record, they stripped.
Okay, all right. Well, let's move on from that.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to intercede. Thank you for your call, sir. I'm going to intercede.
Oh, we got a full board
but-
here, Steve.
But I want to try to keep now that I'm hearing we can do a little screening, I want to try to get this thing geared
Well, let's see what
end of the day.
Well, I've been here all week talking about it. Don't worry, Steve.
I've been listening for the last hour, and the show is drifting in another direction. I want to
Well, that's okay. Well, let's go to the phones. I haven't been taking calls. It's open phones, so we'll see what's going on. You're on the radio. Hey, Doug.
Friendly Mike does it again. He sells me tires, 2 for what I could have bought 1 for, so he's fantastic.
That's spectacular. By the way, Friendly Tire open on Saturdays. That's great. You're a regular over there at Friendly Tire. Appreciate that.
Objections allowed, and Dutch was last night says you're not allowed to make an objection. I don't know why they let him have so much time just to demean the.
Well, this is great. Hold on. Excuse me. Hold on. They're not demeaning the president. Schiff and Nadler are demeaning themselves. I mean,
Well, I don't know, but it's not that simple, because a lot of the good guys, the Republicans, are at this point trying to ingratiate themselves by saying such complimentary things about what Schiff is doing. And
he's making a great case for Trump. He's doing a great job.
I agree with that.
Even the Democrats are bored and falling
I
asleep.
agree with that. And it's going to be a shock. You realize we've had the entire House trial with no rebuttal, and we've had the last 24 hours just with one side. And if it's coming across in some people's eyes, from what some people are saying, sympathetic towards the
Towards what? Towards Schiff and Nadler? What are you watching?
Well, I'm hearing a lot of commentators trying to establish their neutrality by saying complimentary.
Oh, you must have seen Napolitano and Chris Wallace.
No, it wasn't.
Who was it?
Matter of fact, it was a lot of them.
Not Turley. Turley yesterday
Not
was.
Turley, but I didn't see Turley. But a lot of them have been saying how eloquent the other guys have been. But that's because they've only heard one side.
Who's saying that?
I mean, they're in for a big shot. I think this is going to be a bloodbath.
I don't know what you're watching. All of the commentary I heard yesterday, it was almost unanimous agreement that they were boring everyone's minds away and that they were repetitive. I heard repetitive a lot yesterday.
Yeah, but I heard a lot of politeness on the part of the media.
Well, because the media don't want to say that what they're broadcasting is boring.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, they don't want to go on the air and say, this is boring, but we're carrying it all day, baby. So they got to act like,
What I've heard is a lot of effusive praise from the media. That
Yeah.
is just,
well,
I'm
they're
wondering what they're watching.
I don't know who said that. All right, I didn't see any of that.
I've been watching this nonstop. Oh, Lindsey Graham's another story. Lindsey Graham is doing something very interesting. Lindsey Graham was especially effusive in his praise of the other side, because he's got his eyes. He wants to get Biden to understand, not the kids so much. He wants to make a major expose on what the Bidens have done here, which is a lot of stealing across the board. And in fact, he's getting ready. He announced yesterday that he's going to start a special committee investigation when this is over. But in the meantime, he was saying very complimentary things about their delivery and how eloquent Schiff was and all this kind of stuff. But that's a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, out of material.
You all agree?
Good morning. You're on the radio. One more call before we go to the good morning. You're on the air. Hey, Mike in Louisiana. What's up?
Boring, and the numbers don't. I said this in the chat room earlier. Numbers don't lie.
Okay, now let me slow you down on what's going on here with the television. Okay, what Steve's talking about. They thought in cable news that this was going to be the trial of the century, and what they've done is they've set up 3 weeks of broadcasting centered around this, which has included raising their advertising rates and expectation for higher viewers. And it's boring. 20% fall off day 2. And, well, it's going on now. So they can't, over on even Fox, they can't go on the air and say, or allow their pundits to say, that there's been a 20% ratings drop off and Schiff and Nadler are boring because they've inflated their advertising prices. And their advertisers were like, hey, wait a minute, you just increased our prices 30%. You can't go on the air and do. So there's a business aspect to them not giving analysis. Let me tell you something. I've been watching this impeachment trial, and I've had it locked in all week on Fox, okay? Because I remember the great Clinton impeachment. That was exciting stuff, but you had sex, you had real crimes. And all you've heard from Schiff and Nadler are very vague platitudes, no specific crimes.
And out of context quotes.
But there is...
Out of context, where they'll give a partial quote that is totally misleading from what the real quote really meant. And it's going to... What the hell is that? It's going to come as a real...
Don't hold it up. Just at the, people like to call you on. They troll you. They call Steve as soon as you start talking on the air.
I wish that person would not call me on the air on this phone.
Oh, do you know who it is?
Yes.
Ooh, do I know who it is?
Yes.
Does the audience know who it is?
Let's
All right, Mike. I guess Steve's done with you, so take care. All right.
I want to get back to we have Ed from Tabalino here,
Yeah.
special authority, a political expert. And what? Okay. What you've been watching this? What do you think?
Oh, let me have your phone. This has got to be good. I'll take care of
it. It's.
Let me see.
Tell them not to call on this phone while I'm on the air.
I'm just dying to know who it is.
Good morning, Brian. It's thank you for having me back again. It's always great to be
It's
here.
always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
You're a political authority for
I don't know how much of an authority I am, but I'm certainly aware of what's going on. And what you're seeing right now on the TV, like Brian said, he's been glued to the TV for the last week or so, this is nothing new. There's no question that they've created a slick production. And it's slick, and it is, and they're
It's a TV show.
articulating
They
what
made
they're
a
doing.
TV show out of it.
But the reality is, it's a continuation
Scott?
of the same rhetoric.
Hey, it's Brian, hold
It's
on.
rhetoric over substance. There's no substance in what's being said. There's absolutely nothing new that's there. I think.
Well, that's the problem. They have not. They keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. And in fact, yesterday, Ed, I was watching on Fox. Yesterday was so bad. They had a panel discussion talking about the impeachment trial. They were playing clips from the day before. They didn't even have clips from yesterday. There was nothing that was clippable.
Well, that's because they were only delivering one side for 24 hours straight, over and over.
What's
Of course
24
it's
hours? It's
repetitive.
been for 3 years straight.
Yes,
It's a
that's
one-trick
correct.
pony.
Three.
And that's all it is. And they've got no substance behind anything. And there's just a strange
It's all misleading.
dichotomy.
It's-
When you're looking at Trump sitting overseas trying to orchestrate the strength of the United States against the remaining of the global powers around
And
the world.
fighting against a bureauccy that's from the last administration.
Steve.
Not
That's
only the
working
bureaucracy
against
of America, but the political globalization of the world, that he's realigning everything. And
they're trying to get in his way because they're old. They were on the other side.
I will tell
They
you,
were all Obama people.
they are, but I will tell you an interesting situation. I was just out in California, and I was on a plane flying out, and I had a young lady sit next to me, and I put on Fox News, and I was listening, watching it, and she was a foreigner. She was a young lady, maybe in the early 30s or so, and she tapped me on the shoulder, and she says, "What's with your country?" And she was from Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia, Russia, Georgia. And she says, "I don't understand your people and your country. They're trying to impeach this man with no facts at all. And this is the stuff that goes on in my
Misleading
country."
facts.
And she says, "It's kind of strange that foreigners have more of a respect for America than the citizens of America does." And I thought that was a very, very telling statement. That she's been in this country for 4 years. She couldn't say enough about how wonderful America is, and that she wishes she can get her family over. She's working in San Diego, lives in Boca, and we just had an interesting conversation. It was just so apropos that she happened to sit next to me. But that's the problem, is foreigners have a better view of America than Americans have of themselves.
What's
and
been
that's a
going on?
shame.
It's been interesting, but boy, I got to tell you, I think the party's going to be over for them once we get to our side, because we've got articulate spokespeople who are going to be well prepared, and all we've heard is misleading stuff so far. And when our people get up there, they're going to set the record straight, and it is going to be a bloodbath.
Steve, we got a break. We're late for the time.
Time to check in with my good friend Scott Messenger.
That's right.
From Lift My
Cut my kilowatt. Well, what he can do is he can lift your electric bills off of the burden of your pocketbook by cutting your kilowatts.
From Cut My Kilowatts. How are you today, and how are you going to save Steve Cain listeners a bloody fortune during the coming summer season?
Well, there's new ways that are going to come. Financially, putting in new windows, roofs, new high efficiency air conditioners. But right now, I know everyone's freezing.
Scott, hang on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but unfortunately, we finally got you on here, and unfortunately, we got a horrendous connection, and I don't want to waste all this.
Well, so let's do this. Let's take a break. Scott, hang up and call right back, and then hopefully we'll have a better connection.
We'll be back online. You're listening to the Steve Cain Show. Some slight technical difficulties this morning. We'll be back right after this.
0.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470.
Yeah.
Brian's got an adopted kid. The Florida Money.
Yeah.
Also,
I would like to say something about this. I went for my niece for the series of justice.
I am pleased to tell you
Yesterday, I
about
went
the
to
latest
adoption up
breakthrough in
in
sexual
Vero
advancement
Beach.
for women. Call
young girl that was
the
sexually
OSHA,
abused.
and
My
it will
niece
change your life. Increase sexual desire,
the state is
increase sensitivity,
pushing back,
increase
wanting to put
stimulation,
parents
all
to
can
go
be
sexually
yours with a
abused at 1
simple,
and 2 years old.
safe, and painless
My niece has
procedure
had
Scott?
in our office in a matter of minutes.
Are you there?
As an added benefit,
Hello?
the procedure is also effective in controlling your...
Okay, we got you. Sounds like we got you. Hold on. Hold on. All right.
But on the other hand, I don't want to take.
It was just, when you were mentioning.
Yeah, no.
It was just justice that the adoption came
You know what
down
I'm
finally.
gonna ask you?
Wait, we got Scott back, so we're going to come back.
Call me on Monday on the air.
This is your special invitation to attend Attorney Barry Siegel's free Living Trust seminar. Be sure you and your family are properly protected, even if you already have a trust. Learn how to avoid losing an inheritance to predators, like divorcing spouses, lawsuits, creditors, government agencies, and the IRS. This free Living Trust seminar is Tuesday, January 28th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boca. To attend this free event, call 1-855-FLA-ESTATE, 855-352-3782.
All right. Scott's on the line. We got Scott back.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Cain Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-CAIN.
Wait.
1-888-GO-CAIN. 1. And now, here's Steve Cain.
All right, and with us, Ed, our political expert, and we are back with Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Now, Scott,
Hey, Steve, can you hear me better now?
I can hear you perfectly, and it's important what you got to tell everybody. Go right ahead.
So what I was going to say is, of course, this summer we can, get prepared now for summer and look at the whole house for energy efficiency, starting in the attic, the windows, the doors, the roofs, the high efficiency air conditioners. But I really wanted to quickly address, I know a lot of people have been suffering with the cold the last couple of days, and it's supposed to warm up today and tomorrow and then get really, again, if your house, if you're trying to run your heat and your heat's all blown up in your attic, it's because you don't have any insulation, because heat rises. Okay, so a lot of people turn their heater on only once or twice a year, and they're like, God, I turn it on and it doesn't stay in the house. Well, that's because you don't have any insulation, and the heat rises, just goes right up in your attic. So if you need to get your house insulated, it'll keep you cooler in the summer, and also in the winter now it keeps you insulated. A lot of people down here really don't understand they need insulation for the winter time, because usually the wintertime it's so moderate.
And by the way, from what I remember, the insulation, because you do a lot of stuff, which you're going to finish up telling us, but the insulation part of it, that's not horribly expensive, is it?
No, that's really cheap. I mean, like 1,000 square foot costs like $700. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If you got a 2,000 square house, it's like a $1,400 job. It's not a big deal. It only takes a couple hours, and I mean that's the cheapest, easiest thing. And that money you usually get back within a year, just in savings on your electric bill if you're under insulated. And it really saves the money, and it's really cheap and easy to do. And it's where most people should start. You know what I mean? It's the lowest hanging fruit on the totem.
And where quickly are you? Give a litany of a couple of the other places where you can really cut down on the electric bill.
Well, we can put in a radiant barrier, which basically stops the heat entering from the roof and attic. It stops the attic from heating up. It stops your insulation that's already there from getting hot, and it really like cuts the electric bill like 25% by itself.
Wow.
And that's pretty reasonable. I mean, in the winter right now, people are getting that stuff installed. If it's a decent sized job, for as little as $1 a square foot.
Wow.
I mean, $1 a square foot in the summer when it's blistering hot in that attic. That stuff's $1.50, $2 a foot, depending on the size of the job.
So it's half
if you
price
want a deal on it, not time to call, because I can give you deals now. When it's cool like this, the guys get the work done quick, easy. They're not suffering, and they can work 2 or 3 times as fast as in the summer.
Well, it sounds like a great idea. Give them the number where they can call up and have you come out and see them now that it's in the off season, not so busy.
Absolutely. 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500, or they can look me up on the web at cutmykilowatts.com.
All right, Scott, good talking to you, and we will speak to you again soon, all right?
And I hope Donald hangs in there. I know he ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
Another Donald Trump fan. Okay, Scott, we'll talk to you
There
soon.
you go. All right, have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, and
you mentioned the cold weather. He's talking about the freeze that's kind of come through. Does he give protection for for the raining lizards that have been falling out of the trees?
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting phenomenon.
Unfortunately, they don't die when they fall out. They're just hibernating. I hate the iguanas.
You hate them because you think they're ugly.
Well, I've got one in my community that's about 6 feet long. I thought it was an alligator the first time I saw it. I'd like to.
I was listening to the other Jimmy station yesterday.
Yeah.
And of course, all they should be talking about is the Trump thing. I mean, that's the big thing. And there's another group over there that have no idea what they're doing. And they're doing iguana shows and selling iguana meat and all that. And everybody's trying to get prepared and psyched up for the impeachment programming. And they were wanting to talk about eating iguana meat or something. Anyway, let me ask you this, Ed. What do you visualize? We take over today at a certain point. What do you visualize is going to happen in the second half of this thing? How different or how the same is it going to be from what's gone before?
I think the end result is not going to move a lot of people, except the people that are actually paying attention to what's going on. Many people have had their minds made up already, and this is nothing more than, surrounding the Trump derangement syndrome. The people that are anti-Trump are going to remain anti-Trump. It's not going to move the needle at all. This is a show strictly for the political purposes of trying to engage some senators.
I think that's true, but I think people are going to be very disoriented with the change that's about to occur.
They've been
because
disoriented.
what you're going to watch from here on is 180 degrees different than what we've been watching up till now.
I think there's no question. I think they're going to be fairly succinct in laying out the case. I don't think they're going to be laborious like the way that the prosecution has been. I think they want to get this over as quick as possible, and I think the positive things that Trump is doing needs to be brought to the attention. I think this is really a sideshow and a distraction. And there's...
Well, it's going to be. I mean, you know who we've got. You know the people that are on our side.
Sure, but we shouldn't be giving credence to
Gordon
this.
Sekelo is...
It's great. We've got a lot of great people. There's a lot of great legal minds that are on there.
And a lot of straightening out to do.
Truth is a tough thing to overcome. They've been standing up there just lying, not just in the last couple of days, but for the last 3 years. I mean, the entirety of the Mueller report, this is nothing more than a continuation of that. Like I said, and even if this goes, and this news cycle goes, and the impeachment falls by the wayside, everybody goes back to the campaign trail, Maxine Waters or somebody else will find something else to try to impeach him on. This is
well, it's not going to do her any good. If this thing goes as I see, I'll tell you what I project. I think it's going to be a bloodbath from here on. I think as boring as it's been up till now, that's how exciting it's going to be once we take over to present the Trump side of it. And I think it's going to be eye-opening. I think it is going to be brutal. I think these people are going to be torn to shreds and discredited. And I think they're going to look especially bad because they've been lying through their teeth up till now.
Except that you're making an assumption. You're making an assumption that a lot of the people are rational in their thought process. And
I think when you have someone like Jay
Sekelo.
Any one of a number of them any of them are up there.
They're all great.
Articulate, and they've got a handle on all the facts of the case.
And it's going to be eye-opening because it's going to be diametrically opposed to what we've been watching for the first half.
Why it hasn't been eye-opening for the last 3 years is the story.
Well, because they've set it up so that we don't get a chance to speak until now.
That's better, Steve. You want to go last.
It's wonderful.
You want to go last.
I'm thrilled to death. I think it's going to be great. I'll tell you what I've been doing in the days leading up till now. I can't watch these guys for more than 10 seconds. But what I do is I watch the financial channel.
Yeah, Fox Business.
Fox Business is good because they don't cover the hearings that intensively. They have guests on. And then, of course, during the breaks, like at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I love listening to the commentary about it.
Keep
You
out of
can't
what?
watch these guys pontificate and bloviate because
Keep out of what?
The commentary is
Beyond
more
boring.
telling, but you know, what was interesting is the progressive, the Democratic, the mainstream media message is always, they get their talking points at maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and everybody repeats the same words. And it's really a shame.
Steve, this is what you're missing, okay? Because
Yeah, there's no independent thought. That's
okay, because you've been off this week, okay? I've been talking about this all week, and the problem with the hearing is nothing happened yesterday, Steve. There was not one sound-biteable moment in the hearing. The only story from the trial yesterday is that there was nothing said that was new, and it was boring. I mean, there wasn't one. What happened yesterday?
I'll tell you what happened. The other side, the bad guys, the anti-Trump people, got up and lied outrageously through their teeth, even more than usual, and said things that were outrageously misleading. They ranged from misleading to just downright absolute blatant lies.
It's malicious.
And yeah, malicious lies. It's got it exactly right. See, that's why you're our expert here. And nobody called them on it yesterday because they were being set up yesterday by the other side. Everyone was being very polite. And it's going to come as a great shock when these people have. I think a lot of what's going on is the anti-Trump people have been lulled into a false sense of security, and they're riding high, listening to. And there were some very complimentary things said by the news media about them yesterday, and even the other side.
Well, there was one big happening yesterday on CNN, and it was just devastating, the CNN. Sadly, it's a visual, so I got to describe it to you. I can't play it on the radio. Jay Sekulow, who is spectacular, right? He has a press conference during it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's being carried by, it's one of the breaks, so it's being carried on all the cable networks. CNN, I'm assuming it was mistaken, and while the press conference put on Stephanopoulos' camera, who was in the courtroom, and of course Jay Sekulow is talking about his side of things. And Stephanopoulos is in a panic, making the cut sign to cut away from Jay Sekulow because they don't want him. He doesn't want him on CNN talking. And they cut back to Sekulow real quick because they didn't mean for him to be on camera. Stephanopoulos doing that, and it shows you the panic that they're about to have for Trump's people about to make the case.
I mean, what you're going to see from here to the end.
But you found yesterday interesting?
Oh, selectively. You can't find it interesting when the other side gets up.
It's like watching paint dry.
Yes. But when you get to the commentary and when you watch what I was watching was the reaction to what they were saying. And the false there were people that knew better up there on our side complimenting them about how eloquent they were and all this kind of stuff. That stuff came out of nowhere. I found that interesting because it's a game that's going on here. They're being set up now. You know, all the talking we do off here about Joe Pine and the stuff he used to do. Joe was a master of that. He would set people up. He'd be ultra nice. We'd ask him a question here, a question there, and 3 or 4 lead up, lulling them into a false sense of security, and then it would turn. And I used to watch this because I was the one that gave him the research for this stuff. I was waiting for the hammer to fall, and then sure enough, boom, the hammer falls, and they never knew what hit him. And that's what's going to occur starting today when we take over.
Hopefully so. I'm not sure that what you refer to as our side has the
The pro-Trump
the
people.
fortitude to really go after.
Oh,
them
they do.
in the
They do.
same way.
These are
Hopefully
good
so.
people.
I'll make one suggestion for all of us in here and anybody that is talking about what's going on. I don't think it's about our side versus their side. It's about America versus non-America, and it's about truth versus lies.
That's true.
So the entirety of
That's
everything
true.
you said was
But
it was
it's
nothing
also,
but lies.
but it's also pro-Trump versus anti-Trump.
Yes, but the reality is seeking the truth. And
Yes.
we have to expose what has been said for the last 3 years.
Yes.
As just construed as it's totally false. There's a false.
Right on
it's
the
an
money.
alternate universe.
They're lies.
We have to say. We have to rise above it and not go our side against their side.
And what they're gonna
it's
do-
the truth against non-truth.
And what they're going to do is, again, a lot of what we used to get on the Joe Pine show was they'll be set up with a shot. I'm sure we're going to learn from some of the technical stuff they did yesterday. And we will have shots of them getting up, delivering, quote, making misleading statements, and then coming back and playing the same tape, but then playing the full tape, not the part that was let out that totally left off the
Except that the
totally
difference
changed the
during
meanings.
the area of Bob Grant and Joe Pine and the likes of those.
Yeah, but you still have people of the Sekulow, Jay Sekulow, has that theatrical quality.
No,
a lot of these people.
You're right, but the media in general at least had some semblance of journalistic integrity, however small it might
How
have
do
been.
you classify what?
See, we're late for the break.
Give me 1 second. How do you describe what went on yesterday when
Schiff or Nadler?
not Chief Nadler, the good guys.
Sekulow?
Our guy, Lindsey Graham.
Oh.
When Lindsey Graham got up and said all those flowery, complimentary things about the
Yeah.
performance of the other side, how did you feel about that? It was shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking.
I just told you what he's thinking. They're setting him up. They're setting him up, lulling him into a false sense of security. And today, the hammer will fall.
They've got the Democrats today have 8 more hours today, and today they're going to cover how he obstructed Congress. Another day of boredom.
It's all BS. Let's take a break. We'll be back after this.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money.
It's all those things.
By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. But it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
This is Lori Cain, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton
thank you,
Dental
sir.
for my free consultation, which, by the way, offers to all Steve Cain listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday.
Did you give me this shirt? Is this the shirt? This is the shirt you gave me, sir. I forgot what I was wearing. Yes, Sarah gave me this shirt. That's why she likes it. I forgot what I was wearing. I just saw it in the screen.
Steve Cain listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633.
I forgot what I was wearing.
That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Cain sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Cain's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100
All right, we're coming back.
per tire. Tires
30
for
seconds.
Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
All right, here we are, back.
Radio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we will in this segment take some calls if you want to throw in your 2 cents. Now that we've got this thing all stirred up like it should be. 1-888-GO-CAIN, K-A-N-E, GO-CAIN, and the number 1. 1-888-GO-CAIN-1, and we will take your calls between now and the end. Ed from Tavolino's our special political guest today, as he is frequently on Fridays, because he's got the inside word politically.
Well, Brian, have you noticed, Brian, that over the last day or so that there was some reports that the alleged whistleblower put together in the White House back in 2016, January 2016.
That's a real scandal.
Where he gathered together 9 of the Ukrainian officials to discuss the potential conflict of interest of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, what's going on.
Yeah.
Giuliani today is going to start at 12 o'clock today his abstract of what he's uncovered, and I guess is going to go on a week-long podcast revealing the interviews that he's had. And I think you're going to see a lot of truth coming out, and it's going to be really up to the legitimate media to validate this at some point and not dismiss this. So it's about seeking the truth. It's about seeking what's best for the American people and promoting the American way. And what is just strange to me, like this girl says to me, you have a socialist that's running for president. And I was listening this morning on the news, and they're saying Sanders is so far different than everybody else. And the reality is, Sanders is no different than every other Democrat that's running. They're just varying degrees of socialism.
Well, there was a big story yesterday about Bernie Sanders on Fox Business is reporting that Obama is about to come out publicly and condemn Bernie Sanders and trash him.
Why? Because Obama's about to get drawn into this thing, is what I think. I think he was knee-deep in all of this scandal that we've been talking about with Biden. And I think the searchlight is about to turn on him, and I think he is looking to divert attention.
He's the head of this whole operation. There's no question about it. But I think it's ironic that Obama's got the gall to come out and want to, burn Bernie Sanders, so to speak. But yet, when Obama came out and said, we are fundamentally going to change America, it was definitely towards a socialist trend. And nothing epitomizes socialism more than Bernie Sanders.
And not just this whole thing that now that when they start going into the Biden investigation, which I think they're going to do, do you think that's going to evolve?
I think absolutely. I think the first salvo today is going to be Giuliani listing out, because he's obviously been demonized over the last...
Well, Giuliani, I can't figure out. Is he a guy who drinks too much and a boob, or is he cunning? I don't know what it is.
He's a showman, but you can't take away his knowledge that he has. And,
he seems to be a train wreck sometimes. He seems to talk too much, but maybe he's not. Maybe he does it on purpose. I don't know.
Maybe it's like you say.
I don't think we've seen enough of him to know
well,
at this point.
Like I said,
but
this morning he's coming out and he says over the next 2 weeks he's going to lay out his case with interviews and with the actual facts that have come down with the Ukrainian investigation that began long before Biden threw his hat into the ring.
Well, okay. This thing with Giuliani, this Les Parnas guy came from Giuliani. A lot of negative stuff's come from Giuliani. So that's why I can't figure out if he's good for us or bad.
Well, sometimes you get into the mud and you never know who your compatriots are in the mud until they reveal themselves.
Most of what we've got up to this point on Giuliani has been secondhand. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to get Giuliani firsthand because he's going to be testifying, and I think that'll give us a clearer picture.
Well, no, he's not. Giuliani's doing I think it's a week long. He's doing a podcast.
A week-long podcast laying out
revealing. He's not going to be in the
what he's
hearing.
found.
Yeah.
You don't think they're going to use it in this during their period?
I don't
Oh, yes.
know.
I'm not sure that they will, but I think it'll be the follow-up after all this comes along.
This is what I think is going on with Giuliani. This podcast thing is very unusual, okay? Because Giuliani is President Trump's attorney still, okay? He still works for Trump. What he's doing is trying to get into the news cycle an overload of Biden's crimes. Because what the Democrats have another day to bore us to death. I don't know if they're taking the weekend off, the Senate, or not. They shouldn't take the weekend off. They're working on Friday. Big shocker for that one. So maybe they won't. Then our guys have 24 hours. These are opening statements. And then after the opening statements, they present the case. So I think what Giuliani is doing this noontime podcast to get the news cycle to be discussing Biden's corruption. Because they can't, they're not,
They're definitely going to
Sunday show.
Yeah, Giuliani is working with the Trump defense team in the trial with this podcast is what he's doing.
Podcasts are coming out with Trump's blessing, obviously.
Yeah, Trump knows a lot about a lot of things, but he really knows how to control the news cycle. Steve Cain Show.
Present things in a theatrical way.
Yeah, so the podcast with Giuliani is not without the blessing of
But it's really going to
Trump.
be up to the media, to the legitimate media, let's say, as opposed to the fake news, because there are a lot of people out there that are legitimate.
Now listen, Steve, on the line we have from Save-A-Lot Nutrition Center, Janet Cimarelli.
Janet Cimarelli, how are you doing?
To Eric?
I am really, really fine. So good morning to all of you. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. I'm here with that health news you can use. And this morning I'm talking about your brain. So important for us to do everything we can to support our brains. And what are some of to literally balance your brain? So starting off, not that I have any special connection, how about Janet's Best Brain? It's a beautiful combination in an easy-to-swallow capsule, just 2 a day, and you support the production of all of those neurons, and you support that production in a balanced way. If you have too many stimulating neurons, then you're jittery, anxious, can't sit still, spilkus, they say. And if you are using too many kind of sedative neurons, then you're lethargic, you're slow moving, it just is not going well. Those thoughts don't come as easily as they should. So come on in to Save-A-Lot. I'll be there today from 12 to 5. We can talk about My Best Brain. We can talk about Jaro Formula's SAM-E. Now, a lot of people think, okay, well, isn't that just if you're depressed? No. SAM-E is very supportive of balanced neurochemistry, and it's good for your liver, and it's good for your joints. So many things. I call it a threefer.
And
Jaro Formula SAM-E.
I want to make it clear to everybody, if they get over there when you're going to be there at 12 o'clock today, they can make an appointment with you. You don't charge them anything for it, and you can help them select the items that are,
cost.
Can't beat that. And 15% off on everything in the store. You cannot beat a buy like that. Janet, tell them how to find you.
Okay, so easy to find Save-A-Lot. Just going on State Road 7, 441. Save-A-Lot is in the Penn Dutch Plaza. There's no longer a Penn Dutch, but it's the Penn Dutch Plaza, just about a half mile south.
It's not a Save-A-Lot Plaza.
And you can give them a call, 754-307-1655.
Janet, have a great weekend, and we will speak next week.
We will. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You take care, you. Bye-bye. And we'll be back right after this.
Are you looking to sell your house or buy your dream home? Then call LaBella Real Estate. LaBella Real Estate is Trump. And like Donald Trump, LaBella Real Estate want to give you the highest dollar amount when selling your home. And when looking for a new home, LaBella Real Estate will find you the best deal. LaBella Real Estate have over 20 years of experience in real estate and mortgages. And they are very knowledgeable about the South Florida real estate market. If it's a condo, single family home, a luxury home, LaBella Real Estate can help. Buying or selling, call LaBella Real Estate at 561-445-7023. 561-445-7023.
And the price for a U-Haul
Real Estate
to leave California is 4 times the price for a U-Haul to go into California. So the free market plays a little, so a lot of people are running away from Bloomberg, made a statement about California as being a model for a country to follow. And I think that's going to come back to haunt
A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine
He's
provides
the wild
clear
card in this
evidence
thing
that
of which way it may
74%
go.
of surgeries for back pain
Bloomberg.
fail. But there
Not that
is
he's going to have any traction, but he may move it.
Well, he has bought all of the ad availability on all the TV stations in these early primary states. He's bought it all up. The other candidates can't buy time.
And it's the antithesis of what supposedly the Democrats do.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, he's got all that money. He's got $100 billion.
It's not about right and wrong. It's about the ends justify the means to get to power.
Any type of injury or slip and fall, the pain won't go away. Well, if you want to get back to your old self,
No.
you want to call Dr. Troy. His number 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036. Online at drtroylemaskey.com.
You have to have the
Tell him
connection.
that Steve Cain sent you.
I think
This is your special invitation to attend Attorney Barry's
All right, we're coming back.
free living trust seminar. Be sure you and your family are properly
There's
protected, even
no
if
calls
you
right
already have
now.
a trust. Learn how to avoid losing an inheritance to predators like divorcing spouses, lawsuits, creditors, government agencies, and the IRS. This free living trust seminar is Tuesday, January 28th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boca. To attend this
Well, that's not what happened with that. I'll tell you when we get back.
352-3782.
No, don't tell that story, man. Makes it look like we're being...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Don't worry. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, no. You heard the Alec Baldwin on it. That time when Alec Baldwin was on the air not getting calls, it wasn't that he wasn't getting calls. It was that the board op wasn't putting calls through. They were screwing Alec Baldwin over by not putting calls through. That's what board ops do. Steve Cain Show.
That's what you have to be careful of.
Hey.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is the way Alec handled it.
Well, he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what was going on.
He exposed himself for the
It was
idiot
great.
that he is,
It's one of the funniest pieces of
Well, that's kind of been wiped. You don't see too much of that on the internet. It's kind of hard to find these days, that Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin's got it. You want to take some calls, though?
Yes. It was a real Saturday Night Live skit rather than...
Yeah, exactly.
That's the joke. That's the ironic thing.
Al the John.
Oh, you should have told me that.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Ed.
You know what I really like about your calls, Al, is that you never take issue with being a John. That doesn't seem to faze you. It doesn't bother you. You don't deny it. Yeah. You like that identity.
My brother-in-law, when I was down in Costa Rica, my brother-in-law bought me a prostitute. A practical joke was made on me, so...
I think the practical joke was on the prostitute. She had to have sex with you. But did you tell your sister that her husband hires hookers? Oh, I guess not. Okay. She should know about that. She should know about that. That's your sister. Anyway, what'd you call about?
Dazzle us with your brilliance.
Yes.
Today they're going to focus on the
Steve Cain Show.
Congress, the use of...
Oh, well, let's focus in on that, okay? What did President...
Give us a preview.
What did President Trump do that is obstruction of the Congress?
What do you do? Very simply,
Must be an echo in here.
the recording of the transcript of the call.
There is no recording. There is no recording. There's been a transcript released.
The transcript of the call from the other
other people listening in from the NSA and other legal people that are supposed to be listening to the call, notified President, notified.
Well, what's in the
lawyers.
call? What's in the call?
What's in the call? Very simple. He used his office to grossly.
Well, what does he say? What does he say? That's it's just a quote. What's the quote that makes where he obstructs?
Taking $391 million in aid.
What does he
that
say?
he gave him.
What does he say? What does it say in the recording?
Do me a favor, not the recording.
No, he didn't say that. He said, do us a favor, meaning the United States. He didn't say, do me a favor. See, you know what? You know what's happened now? You're watching your Democrats misquote the transcript from the call too much. He didn't say, do me a favor. He didn't say that. He said, do us a favor. That means the country.
Use his office of power.
Okay, but you said obstruct Congress. You're talking about the phone call. What did President Trump do that is the obstruction of Congress? Steve.
Held the aid to the.
No. That's not obstructing Congress. Are you okay?
He violated the Impeachment Act.
That's not obstructing Congress. What did he do to obstruct Congress?
I realized back in 1974, your mom was cleaning your poop out of your diapers. Back in passes the law in 1974.
But that has nothing to do with Congress. You said today it will be proven that he obstructed Congress.
You don't understand the fact that
See what's happened here? I mean, he's brain damaged from that. Yeah, they've lost it.
You've taken what I've said and misconstrued what I've said.
What have you said?
He said nothing.
You can't take.
He said his sister's brother hires hookers. But other than that, I haven't heard him say anything.
Is there anything misleading about that?
The fact that my brother won't play the joke has nothing to do with this conversation. So you're losing the argument, so you got to throw that into the mix.
No, I'm just trying to make sense out of what you're saying.
Okay. The Trump's use of his office for his personal benefit, ignoring and injuring the national.
Okay, how did he benefit personally from his office? He's worth $10 billion. How did he benefit personally from from his office?
Can I answer the question with 2 sentences? And
That's 2. You just had 2 sentences, but we'll give you 2 more.
Go ahead. Come on. I mean, it's clearly you're.
We got other callers.
You got nothing to talk about. You got nothing to say. Say it.
Oh, okay.
Very simple. He tried to bribe them into saying that there was going to be an investigation into Biden.
Where's the bribe? Give me the line. What does he say that's where he's offering a bribe? He requested a favor. How's that offering a bribe?
He wanted them to make an announcement that they were going to do an investigation into.
I'll make an announcement. Get off the phone, you jerk.
Oh my God! You want to take some other calls?
Yes,
Let's see.
please.
All right.
Find somebody above the subhuman level.
Well, that's anybody that's breathing. Greg 2.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, that was painful to listen to. That these Democrats have been, let's put it this way, have been after Donald Trump for 3 years, and he simply wanted inquiry to his illegal behavior, which we know that Hunter Biden got paid off right through Joe Biden, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, without a doubt, right? And he was looking into inquiring about it. Joe Biden wasn't even running for office at the time. And you know what? What do you call him, Al? What's his name, Al LeJohn?
Al LeJohn, yes.
I mean, that was extremely painful to listen to because they can't come on.
But you know what, though? As painful as it was for us to listen to Al LeJohn, I think it was more painful for him to actually be on the air trying to defend this witch hunt coup. Did he sound like he was happy?
It's just 2 minutes. We'll never get back.
Your guest previously gave a great statement that Once this is over, they're going to come up with something else with Donald Trump.
Well, what Schiff is talking about doing is investigating Pence now.
You know, they'll come up with some other thing. You know, it's absurd what's going on.
Well, I
And
think what's coming up next, and it's not going to be from the anti-Trump faction. What's going to come up next is an investigation of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and all the corruption that they have fostered in this whole matter, because I think they're at the root of everything.
Let me ask you this, guys, because I haven't followed it extremely closely. Is Hunter Biden going to testify?
It's speculation at this point. What's your guess?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Will Hunter Biden end up testifying?
I think he will obviously be the star witness. I think it goes a lot deeper than what's coming out. It's only surface things. I think the real corruption lies with Joe Biden.
You think
on a
that Joe will
number of
testify?
areas. There's millions and millions of dollars that have flowed through the various members of Joe's family.
You know what it is, Ed? You know what it is, Ed? Joe Biden's brother's sleazy too. Schweitzer's been talking about it, but Hunter has been used and exploited by his very own father. You know, here you've got Joe Biden, who's destroyed his son Hunter's life. He's got him doing crime for him. You know, I mean, what kind of father does that? You know, what kind of father does that?
Schweitzer laid out a great chronology of the corruption of the entire Biden family, of all the pieces of the puzzle. And Hunter was just one of them. But, you know, it's kind of interesting that people like Biden come into office relatively moderately wealthy and leave gazillionaires. And there's just something wrong with that.
It's time to break. So, hey, Greg, thanks for the call. If you're on hold, by the way, don't go anywhere.
We'll be back. More of the Steve Cain Show after this.
This is Lori Cain, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of
Well,
years
you got up
because
in the
I was
middle of the
afraid
night. That's
cost.
your problem.
But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Cain listeners. I had 2 cavities.
Well, just think about this. 15 minutes, and then you got 2 days off. 3 days, really, if you include
I
today.
scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Cain listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633.
And they get so many spots every month, you have no idea. They get more promotion than almost anybody.
Are you looking to sell your house?
It's at the top and bottom of every hour.
Call LaBella Real Estate. LaBella
Yeah.
Real Estate love President Trump. and
Okay.
Donald Trump.
Well, it's Gold Report time. Steve Cain Show.
Your home. And when looking for a new home, LaBella Real Estate will find you the
It's
best
time
deal.
for the Gold
LaBella
Report.
Real
Wait.
Estate have over 20 years of experience in real estate and mortgages, and they are very knowledgeable about the South
Hey there.
Florida real estate market.
Steve,
If it's a
Youngerman,
condo,
Youngerman.
single-family home, a luxury home, LaBella Real Estate can help.
Steve.
Buying or selling, call
Youngerman.
LaBella Real Estate at 561-445-7023. 561-445-7023.
Well, I got 10 minutes left.
And online, LaBellaRealEstateLLC.com.
Because I was on the phone with getting somebody. You can call back. It's time for the... Steve, we're back. Time for the Gold Report.
All right, that moment you've all waited for, the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman, Inc. William, of course, has been a sponsor of the Steve Cain Show now for almost 15 years. He is one of the world's leading experts on the precious metals, and those of you who followed his advice through the years have benefited greatly. Let's see how things are looking this morning. William, what's it looking like?
Looking good, Steve. Actually, gold breaking out of that resistance area of $1,560 finally yesterday, as gold rose $3.90 to close at $1,562.40. Overnight, we did get back down to around $1,557 the ounce, but it's back up over
It's in there. I don't have. You have it.
now.
You have it in there.
Market will need to spend a couple of days above that $1,560 to reestablish a new trading range, possibly between 1560 and 1570, as we start heading towards that high that we saw when the war broke out at $1,610. We got to recapture that number. That we're a long ways from that right now. But that being said, silver was down 2 cents yesterday, closing at $17.78. Still finding resistance around that $18 number. Platinum was down $11 at $1,002. Finding good support around the $1,000 number for platinum. And palladium was down $24 yesterday, closing at $2,341.
Just have him give it. Just
morning,
tell him to give out the
gold
number.
was 1557, but then has been climbing back up over that 1560 number. We're at $1,561 right now for gold. That's just down $1.40 from yesterday. Silver up 18 cents at $17.95 the ounce. We look for silver to get over that $18 number again and start building towards higher numbers. Platinum up $10 this morning at $1,012, and palladium down $5 at $2,336 the ounce. Want to remind or let our Steve Cain listeners know also that one of the things they've been waiting for us to get in is the new 2020 U.S. Silver Eagles. They are in stock for immediate delivery, so we want to make that available. And whether you're looking for a $1,000 bill or 1,000 ounces of gold, we have it for you. So.
They got it all at William Youngerman Inc. In fact, I think I'm going to try to drop by later this morning if I can. So drop by anytime. 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Coker. That's the Bank of America building. You'll find William on the first floor, directly across from the bank. You can reach him by phone. William, give me your phone numbers over there.
Sure. Our toll-free number nationwide, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010.
William, good talking to you, and if I don't get over there this morning, I'll see you next Monday, all right?
Okay, be sure to check out our website at williamyoungerman.com.
That sounds great. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Want to go back to the phones?
Yes.
All right. I've lost track of who's. I think, is this Dewey?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Hey, Dewey, what's up?
Hey, just love the show here. Good stuff going on today. Just here's what baffles me. So there seems to be sufficient evidence for many months, and now this book this week from Peter Schweitzer that minimally there's something to look into with Joe Biden, if not a lot to look into. And I guess all we get is a comment from Lindsey Graham, which is great, that he is not going to sit on the sidelines and he's going to look at it.
He said he's going to open an investigation. You can't ask for more than that, other than actually doing it.
If it was you or me, I wouldn't be waiting for a congressional hearing. They'd be knocking on my door. So I guess my question is, who's knocking on Joe Biden? Who is the authority?
See, here's the problem, Dewey. Everyone in Congress is doing what Joe Biden's doing, right? All their relatives are on this board and that board, or they're a lobbyist. They all do it. It's a bit. That's why Joe Biden's one. Why are they picking on me? Why are they picking on me? They're all doing it.
Let's get the rest of them. I guess what?
Well, the rest of them include the Republicans too. It's not just Democrats. It's both sides, man.
Taking the task.
All right. Well, remember that show? What was that show? Will the real whatever show up? Will the real Ed Pasquale please stand up? We got Ed Pasquale on the line. We got Ed Pasquale in the studio. It's getting very confusing around here. Yeah.
Good morning, all. Good morning, Uncle. How are you?
Good morning, Neff. How you doing?
How many Ed Pasquales are there in your
We
family?
actually have 5 Edward Joseph Pasquale.
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Easy to call us for dinner.
All right, what do you got for us?
Hey, listen, that what's going on up there is a sham. So basically, if the Democrats really thought they could impeach Trump, they wouldn't have put Adam Schiff to lead the charge. Because look, there's two things about a trial: facts and credibility. And when you stand up for about a day and talk about Russian collusion that's already been debunked and fell apart months ago, and you talk about for months and months that Russian collusion with the Trump administration is as plain as day, evidence is plain as day, and then there's no evidence that comes forth, you have no credibility.
Well, Ed, hang on 1 second. Hold on, Ed. Do you not expect that what we're going to get from today through the end is not going to be the same thing we've been looking at up till now. Today, as Malcolm X would say, the chickens are going to start coming home to roost. Would you not expect that?
I would hope so, but we've been waiting for the chickens to come home to roost.
Well,
frankly,
yeah, but
Steve, the media is not reporting. I mean, no one's asking the tough question of Hunter Biden as to why someone like him deserved to be on that board.
The questions are going to be
the
questions.
No background.
Ed, have a little look. I'm as much of a skeptic as anybody, but have a little faith. That's what this thing from today to the end. Now, for the next week, that's what it's about. They've had free shots at us for a month in the House investigation, for 48 hours straight or whatever, however long we've been watching this crap on this latest investigation. But now is our time. That's all they've got. We've got skilled interviewers up there who know all the facts, who are going to hang these guys out to dry. Don't you believe that?
I believe that as the defendant, as somebody who's represented defendants in court, Steve, they don't have to do that, and I would anticipate that they don't take their full 3 days worth of time.
They don't need that.
They don't need to. I agree with you, but they'll make some legal points. They'll talk about the facts. They'll push back, but in the end, this thing that is, look. In the end, the Democrats haven't done anything. They haven't presented any evidence in a true sense of evidence.
And the point's going to be made now.
Bottom line is that there's going to be a vote, and this is going to be over next week, and that'll be it.
Ed, do you know who Jerry Spence is?
The late Jerry Spence.
Jerry Spence, for those who don't know, is a very, very fine attorney, and who's operated in some very high-profile cases, including Ruby Ridge, I found out. But Jerry Spence, one of the things that made him notable was his whole technique was to make his case on cross. You know, does that sound familiar to you? In other words, he would get up there in the beginning and he would let the prosecutors, make their case and say whatever they want. He'd sit there and sit there and sit there. And then when it was time for him to do his cross-examination, he would get up there, and one of the reasons that I'm an admirer of Jerry Spence is because he was again vintage Joe Pine technique, and when he said he made his case on cross, he would get up there and he'd get the authorities on the stand, and he would start asking them questions. And by the time he led them down the garden path with all the questions, he'd won his case.
But you still need the media to promote the truth when that comes out.
Not if it's this format.
Well, there's no witnesses. How do you do that without witnesses? If they don't call witnesses, how do they do that?
Yeah, no, and I expect a barn burner, don't you?
I don't know.
I don't.
Oh.
I actually think they're going to dissect the call. I think they're going to make a handful of legal arguments that talk about that this no way rises to an impeachable offense. That there's no such thing as obstruction of Congress as the Democrats are whining about.
Well, you don't think all the
power is weak.
You don't think that all the misquoting that the Democrats have been doing up till now, because that's how they've made their points, by getting up and quoting a sentence that somebody may have said, leaving out the last part of it that totally changed the meaning. You don't think that they're going to get nailed on a lot of stuff like that?
I think there'll be some clarification of that, and I think there'll be a lot of the half-truths will be righted. I agree with you there, but do I think it's going to be a barn burner? No, there's not going to be a Perry Mason moment because you don't have a witness. There's no witness to cross in the true sense. So what you're going to end up with is some clarification about what the facts really are, and then you're going to have a legal argument.
In all due respect, you will have witnesses. Even if it's on tape, I think they're going to use the same technique that was used against them last week. I think they're going to have film. I think they're going to play these guys live and in Technicolor and stereophonic sound, and then they're going to make them accountable for what they've said and what the audience has just seen, just as though they were testifying.
Steve, let me just make a suggestion to you, though. I think the Democrats' game plan is not to remove President Trump. The Democrats' game plan is try to put 4 or 5 Republican senators in a position in which they have to defend themselves on a campaign trail for votes in this impeachment process.
I understand.
That's what they're going to do.
I'm going to invite your brother and you, by the way, if you want to appear via phone, next Friday. Obviously, we're going to be able to answer a lot of these questions after watching
the lot comes out this week. Let's see how it plays out.
And we'll do a part 2 next Friday. Everybody okay with that?
I'm good.
I think I can do that.
All right.
If my uncle invites me, I'll come.
Well, I'll invite you. You don't need your uncle. You're invited. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
We will see you all.
Appreciate it.
Yep. We all got a busy weekend of watching to do, and we'll process it all starting next Monday. Till then, on behalf of Brian, Ed, and I'm Steve.
And truth will set you free. So let's get to the truth.
And God bless America.
This is.
Thank you.
And I want to